Chapter 52. That's right. With Master Kong here, Lin Zhou will be safe. Zheng Guangxia's confidence was boosted. He had not seen how Jiang Tian killed Fu Biao and White Ape. However, he had seen how Jiang Tian controlled lightning with his own eyes. Besides, Dragon Fifth and the others had just bragged about condensing qi into a weapon, injuring people in the air, using divine sense to transmit telepathy, and walking on water. This made him respect Jiang Tian even more. Suddenly, he had an idea. He handed over a key and said, "Master Kong, since you are a cultivator, you must need a dojo. King's Mansion No. 1, please take it for yourself." "Oh. Sure." Jiang Tian did not stand on ceremony and directly took it. The king's mansion was backed by Lion Peak and surrounded by Lake Xiu. It was the best place to hide wind and gather water. Everyone was envious and worshipful. This mansion was the best in Linzhou. It was worth tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. However, Jiang Tian had taken it so easily. "From now on, we should unite around Grandmaster Jiang and form our own forces. When that time comes, even Wei Shuofeng won't dare to mess with us." Zhou Zhenghao suddenly stood up and suggested with a fervent look on his face. "Yeah. That's the best. Master Kong. Master Kong." Many of the tycoons of the rich and powerful societies stood up and bowed to Jiang Tian with their fists clasped. "Grandmaster Jiang, please accept a bow from us. From today onwards, Lin Zhou will revere Grandmaster Jiang. If you have any orders, we won't dare to disobey." Zheng Guangxia, the richest man in Linzhou, also stood up and took a deep breath. He bowed deeply and said, "There are only a few outstanding men like him in Huaxia." Zhengli felt like she was in a dream as she watched a group of experts who could summon the wind and summon the rain in Linzhou grovel before Jiang Tian. Was this still the ignorant and muddle-headed Jiang Tian from university? Now, it seemed that those famous young masters like Tang Jianfeng and Lu Tianla in Linzhou paled in comparison to Jiang Tian. They were not even qualified to carry his shoes. You may rise." Jiang Tian sat there as leisurely as ever, neither sad nor happy in his heart. Back then, in the outer realm, he swept through the starry sky. With a flick of his finger, immortals fell. With a flip of his hand, he suppressed the demon ancestor. With a smile, he turned the galaxy upside down and shattered the void. With immortals and divine kings as his disciples and saintesses and fairies as his servants, what had he not seen before? How could the submission of a few tycoons of the mortal world cause any ripples in his heart? After everyone sat down, there was a heated discussion. The establishment of a club, regular meetings, cooperation between members, and even how to integrate the various forces and mediate conflicts. "Master Kong, this is a little bit of filial piety from this junior." "It's not much, please take it." Dragon Fifth quickly handed over a check. 10 million. In fact, with Dragon Fifth's thoughts, even a few hundred million was not enough to thank Jiang Tian for helping him get rid of Fu Biao. However, he could also see that Jiang Tian cared more about cultivation resources and did not care much about worldly wealth. However, cultivation resources were too rare, so he could only settle for the next best thing. Jiang Tian took the check and told them about the materials he needed to set up the spirit gathering array, and asked them to help him look for them. Who dared to disobey Master Kang's orders? Everyone agreed. "It's getting late, I have to go." Seeing Zhao Xueqing yawn and seem a little sleepy, Jiang Tian stood up and bid farewell. Everyone hurriedly stood up and sent Jiang Tian out of the door. On the way, Zhao Xueqing blinked and said in surprise, "Jiang Tian, when did you become so powerful?" "Xueqing, do you believe in reincarnation?" Jiang Tian did not hide it. He sighed softly and said, "I reincarnated. In my previous life, the Jiang family was defeated by our enemies. My parents both died, and you were also killed by Lu Wangfeng. When my family left me one by one, I wanted to take revenge, but I was no match for the major families of Jinling and Lu Wangfeng. I went crazy and committed suicide by jumping off the 1,000-feet cliff. However, I didn't die. Instead, I was taken away by my master, a mighty cultivator who traveled the universe, and I embarked on the path of cultivation. When I returned to Earth again, it was already 1,000 years later. Lu Wangfeng and his enemies of Jinling had already turned into dust. I could only embark on the path of cultivation again. I swept through the universe, killed the old fiend, and killed the God King. I was hailed as the Taichu's celestial lord. However, I still can't forget you. When you broke through the shackles of Hongmeng, you were disturbed by an inner demon and died. That inner demon was your unjust death. However, I didn't expect that I would be reincarnated the last time when my brain disease acted up and I was hospitalized. Xueqing, no matter how powerful I become, I only want to protect you for the rest of your life and be safe. Jiang Tian said softly. Are you done? Zhao Xueqing pursed her lips and chuckled. This was an era where science and technology flourished and civilization flourished. Concepts such as immortal cultivation and inner demons only existed in novels and television dramas. You don't believe me? Jiang Tian was helpless. Only a ghost would believe you. Zhao Xueqing rolled her eyes at Jiang Tian and chuckled. You must have met some expert and learned some skills. I believe that. However, I don't believe that you came back after living for 10,000 years. Alright, no matter where my skills came from, I will take care of you for the rest of your life. You will be safe and happy. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Hubby, don't forget what you said today. Zhao Xueqing's eyes were red and her voice was choked with sobs. It was already late at night when they returned to the Times mansion. Jiang Tian, aren't you going to rest? After taking a shower, Zhao Xueqing changed into a set of black silk pajamas and walked into Jiang Tian's room. At this moment, she was no longer as cold and reserved as she was in the past. Her features were picturesque, her lips were bright red, and her skin was translucent. There were 2 thin ribbons on her shoulders that were tied with a bow, as if they were tempting people to untie them. Under the short skirt, a pair of long and slender legs were exposed. Her skin was as fair as snow, and she was as beautiful as porcelain. Any normal man would definitely drool over her. On the bed, Jiang Tian's muscular upper body was naked and he was meditating with his legs crossed. Hearing this, he smiled gently and said, Go to sleep. I meditate and cultivate. It's better than sleeping. Only in front of Zhao Xueqing would Jiang Tian, who had killed countless people, show a gentle smile. Jiang Tian, you've been tired all night. Do you want me to make a soup for you? Her simple words directly hit Jiang Tian's heart. The moment she said that, Jiang Tian stretched out his arm and held her in his arms. Ah! Zhao Xueqing screamed softly. She didn't expect that Jiang Tian would hug her. Moreover, she was wearing so little at the moment. When their skin touched, Zhao Xueqing blushed and her heart raced. However, the fresh smell coming from Jiang Tian's body made her deeply intoxicated, and she couldn't resist it at all. Zhao Xueqing bit her lower lip with her snow-white teeth. Her voice was as gentle as the spring breeze. She asked, What are you doing? Jiang Tian didn't answer. He picked her up and walked to the master bedroom. Thump! Thump! Zhao Xueqing's heart raced. Her breath was like orchids, and her breath became heavy. Her full chest heaved up and down violently. Before, Jiang Tian had coveted her body. Could it be that he wanted her tonight? Zhao Xueqing's heart rippled. She couldn't help but wrap her snow-white arms around Jiang Tian's neck. She shyly went into Jiang Tian's arms and said softly, Jiang Tian, today is my safe day. After saying that, she was even more embarrassed. Her beautiful face was red as if she was drunk. Under the reflection of the 8 blessings necklace, her skin rippled with a layer of blush. Her beauty was unparalleled. Before I become famous, I won't take your body. Jiang Tian gently put her on the bed and pulled the thin quilt over her. He tucked her in and said softly, You don't like me anymore? Seeing that Jiang Tian was so serious, Zhao Xueqing felt an inexplicable sense of loss. She was worried about her gains and losses. By the time your name shakes the world, I might already be old and weary. Moreover, that Tang Linglong, Lu Yating, Zheng Li, and the other girls seemed to have a good impression of Jiang Tian. What nonsense are you talking about? In this life, I will only love you, and it will never change. Jiang Tian held her soft hand and gently kissed her smooth forehead. He said affectionately, And, husband, I will also only love you in this life. Zhao Xueqing's heart rippled with tenderness. All the feelings of loss and gain were replaced by sweetness, happiness, and peace of mind. Sleep early. Tomorrow, I will give you a gift. Jiang Tian said with a smile. In her previous life, Jiang Tian was harsh and merciless to Zhao Xueqing. She never had a good day with Zhao Xueqing. Other girls had to change their branded clothes, bags, shoes, and even cars every few days. Zhao Xueqing, in order to treat his illness, did not buy any new clothes for several years. He squandered all her salary. Sometimes, she even went hungry. As for jewelry, Zhao Xueqing, who lost her mother when she was young, never bought a single piece. Zhao Xueqing was slightly stunned when she heard this. Then, she pursed her lips and said firmly, I don't want it. Why? Jiang Tian pinched her beautiful little face and said with a smile, I just took 10 million from Dragon Fifth. I don't lack money. Husband, although I don't know what is going on in the world of cultivation, I know that the poor study and the rich practice martial arts. Zhao Xueqing said obediently. I heard from them that cultivation resources also require a large amount of money. Leave the money. We will save it and buy what you need. Listen to me. Jiang Tian was touched when he heard this and said with a smile, Don't worry, husband, if you want to make money, even the richest man in the world, Bill Gates, can't compete with me. After that, Jiang Tian returned to his bedroom. He meditated and closed his eyes to meditate. Now I have the White Ape's Demon Core and the Ice Jade, but I haven't found the other 3 materials of the 5 elements. I have to gather the materials as soon as possible and set up the spirit gathering array. When I break through to the middle stage of qi refining with the help of the spirit gathering array, I think that the few families in Jinling will not be able to stop me. I will return with a strong force, sweep through Jinling, and cruelly crush them. Thinking of this, his heart became eager. He opened his eyes, and a divine light burst out. He looked up to the sky and sighed. Dad, Mom, Grandpa, in my previous life, I didn't understand your painstaking efforts and gave up on myself. When the family was in trouble, I was helpless and could only watch helplessly as the villains got what they wanted. In this life, I will turn the tide and restore the Jiang family's prestige. I will glorify the Medicine King group and let the Jiang family stand proudly among the strong in Huaxia. Chapter 53. Early morning. Knock, knock, knock. Jiang Tian, it's time for breakfast. Following a series of knocks on the door, Zhao Xueqing's crisp and pleasant voice sounded. Coming. Jiang Tian opened his eyes and replied. Zhao Xueqing cooked a pot of porridge, steamed a few buns, and sliced a cucumber. It was a simple meal. But in Jiang Tian's eyes, it was an incomparably delicious dish. Today is Saturday. After breakfast, accompany me to pick out a gift. Jiang Tian said with a smile. I think I should work overtime. Zhao Xueqing insisted. Listen to me. Jiang Tian smiled. In her previous life, in order to get more overtime pay, Zhao Xueqing would often stay up late to work overtime. But in this life, Jiang Tian's modified muscle nourishing ointment was worth tens of millions. The benefits he gave to the Zhao clan were already sufficient. Jiang Tian, what gift are you going to get me? Zhao Xueqing asked curiously. You'll know when we get there. Jiang Tian smiled. He finished his meal quickly and left with Zhao Xueqing. Linzhou City, Financial Street, Socialite Club. Huaxia society was very particular about relationships and connections. Every group of people had their own social circles. The Socialite Club was run by the Linzhou Female Entrepreneurs Association. The honorary president was the director of the Linzhou City Women's Federation and Secretary Tang's wife, Chen Xian. It was the core social circle of the upper-class women in Linzhou City. Joining the Socialite Club would allow one to make friends with many female officials and entrepreneurs. But that was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that the young women could get to know some aunties and leave a good impression on them. In an exquisite tea house in the clubhouse, a girl in a cheongsam was making tea skillfully. Her slender hands moved up and down like a butterfly. Her movements were smooth and fluid. It was obvious that she had a good foundation in the art of tea. Her features were picturesque, and her temperament was elegant. She was like a lady from a wealthy family who had walked out of the Jiangnan River during the Republic of China. Her every movement was breathtaking. Sitting opposite her was a fashionably dressed girl with exquisite makeup. She was wearing a Prada dress and black high heels that were as sharp as knives. She looked like a smart and capable career woman. The girl was only in her early 20s. Her delicate and pretty face was a combination of innocence and charm, but she had a maturity that people her age did not have. However, at this moment, her beautiful brows were tightly knitted, as if there was a melancholy that could not be dispelled. Bai Yao, do you have something on your mind? I haven't seen you smile recently. The girl who was making tea handed him an antique Xing cup filled with clear green tea and smiled gently. Lu Biao was the beloved daughter of Lu Haitao, the head of the Lu family in Linzhou. The Lu family's assets were worth hundreds of millions, and they were one of the top in Linzhou. Not only was Lu Biao beautiful, but she was also capable. She managed a foreign trade company worth hundreds of millions and was doing very well. Therefore, she, Zhao Xueqing, Tang Linglong, Zhou Xianya of the Zhou family, and Fu Lanjun were known as the 5 golden flowers of Linzhou. Lu Baiyao took a sip of tea and said with a worried face, Big Sister June, do you know that the Jiang family of Jinling City asked my father to marry me to Jiang Tian of the Jiang family 2 years ago? Ha, him. I know about him. Fu Lanjun chuckled and did not deny it. Big Sister June, I rejected him without any hesitation. But now, I regret it. Lu Baiyao sighed. Why do you regret it? Is it because of Lu Wangfeng's mysterious death? Fu Lanjun asked with a smile. Fu Lanjun was the daughter of the Fu family in Linzhou. The Fu family wasn't strong, and they were only ranked in the top 20 or 30 in Linzhou. But Fu Lanjun's personal ability was outstanding. She owned a fashion company called Clivia, which was worth hundreds of millions. Moreover, she was smooth and slick. She was good at dealing with people. She had become the vice president of the Linzhou Female Entrepreneurs Association before the age of 30. Except for Tang Linglong, no one could suppress her. Tang Linglong was passionate about martial arts and didn't care about worldly affairs. Therefore, Fu Lanjun became the idol and spiritual leader of the socialites. If these socialites had any troubles in their hearts, or if they encountered any difficulties in their relationship or career, they liked to talk to Fu Lanjun and listen to her advice. That's right, I've long heard that Jiang Tian is also someone who only knows how to eat and wait for death. Of course I won't agree. Lu Baiyao said resentfully, I was engaged to Lu Wangfeng. Who knew that Lu Wangfeng would be killed by an assassin without any reason? Now, the police can't find out anything. Jiang Tian wasn't a good match. Fu Lanjun was disdainful, and then said tirelessly, not only was he ignorant and incompetent, but he was also impulsive and bad-tempered. When he was in college, he was rejected by a big family in Yanjin and became a big joke in Jinling. Who knew that he would beat up the young master of the family who brought the message? The Jiang family couldn't withstand the pressure from Yanjin, so they cut ties with him. Jiang Tian's aptitude was average and his survival skills were terrible. Therefore, the Jiang family was desperate to find a wife for him and let him marry into their family. At least, they could take care of him. Fu Lanjun picked up the purple sand teacup made by a famous craftsman and took a sip. She smiled and said, "To tell you the truth, the Jiang family even came to me." Damn! The Jiang family has really cast a wide net this time. Lu Baiyao was speechless and overjoyed. Then she said seriously, "Sister June, although Jiang Tian's aptitude was average, the Jiang family is one of the 4 big families in Jinling. So, I still regret it." "Ha, didn't Lu Wangfeng tell you when he was alive?" Fu Lanjun smiled disdainfully. The Jiang family is surrounded by enemies and their business is very difficult. I'm afraid they won't last 5 years. Lu Wangfeng did tell you, but is it really that serious? Lu Baiyao asked incredulously. Not only that. If you want to get close to the Jiang family, you might even get killed. Fu Lanjun said seriously, "Baiyao, let me remind you that a gentleman doesn't stand under a collapsing wall. If you want to find a boyfriend again, you have to be careful not to find someone who has no future. Incompetence is the original sin." Sigh, Lu Wangfeng is dead. How can there be any young talents in Linzhou? Lu Baiyao shook her head helplessly. Linzhou was a small place after all. It was incomparable to the provincial capital of Yangcheng and the Donghai Special Region. The circle of the upper class was only so big. Lu Baiyao knew almost all of her peers, but not many of them could enter her eyes. But you are right. A gentleman doesn't stand under a collapsing wall. Anyone is better than Jiang Tian. Lu Baiyao nodded. How about Tang Jianfeng, the eldest son of the Tang family? Fu Lanjun sipped her tea and smiled meaningfully. Tang Jianfeng? Tang Wanyan's son. Lu Baiyao shook her head and frowned. Tang Jianfeng is a notorious thug. 3 years ago, he broke the legs of a district chief's son in the Sonic Bar. Although Elder Tang suppressed him, his influence was very bad. I haven't seen him for a long time. Is he being shelved by the Tang family? I don't know. Fu Lanjun smiled and her gaze became deep and distant. Baiyao, if the Tang family shelved him just because he beat people up a few times, then you are underestimating the Tang family's strength. He was secretly sent to the Lingnan Fierce Tiger Special Forces for 3 years. He has made great achievements and has become a real soldier king. His military rank is captain. In the future, he might be a general. But as you said, there are not many young talents in Linzhou. I can only keep him for myself. But recently, the district chief's son, Fan Tao, is pursuing me. Sister, do you think? Lu Baiyao suddenly said shyly. Fan Tao. Not bad. Although he doesn't make much money, he has a strong connection. Fu Lanjun smiled and said, Huaxia is a society where officials and businessmen combine. He works in the customs and you do foreign trade. With him paving the way for you, you'll definitely be able to prosper without a hitch. When you become Mrs. Fan, you will have to take care of me. Sister June, don't tease me. Lu Baiyao pinched Fu Lanjun, but her eyes were full of pride. Actually, I don't like him. Since you said so, I might as well try to get to know him. Well, maybe you will like him. Fu Lanjun said gently. Lu Baiyao nodded and asked, by the way, Sister June, you are well informed. Did Jiang Tian find a wife in Linzhou? I found her, and you even know this girl. Fu Lanjun smiled mysteriously. Who? Zhao Xueqing. It's her. Lu Baiyao was shocked. Then she smiled disdainfully and said, then they are a good match. A bitch and a dog will last forever. Look at what you are saying. Do you have a grudge against her? Fu Lanjun smiled. Who does she think she is? Is she worth my attention? Lu Baiyao wrinkled her nose and snorted. Then a trace of disgust appeared in her beautiful eyes. When Lu Wangfeng was dating her, he was secretly pursuing Zhao Xueqing. Lu Baiyao knew it. In Lu Baiyao's opinion, Zhao Xueqing could not compare to her except for her beauty. It must be Zhao Xueqing who was seducing Lu Wangfeng. Then Lu Baiyao sneered and said, however, although the Zhao family is only a third-rate family and Zhao Xueqing does not have much status in the Zhao family, she is still pretty. How could she be so blind to fall for Jiang Tian? She is indeed blind, Fu Lanjun sighed and said, Jiang Tian's Medicine King group is in financial difficulties. They can't even take care of themselves. They don't give Jiang Tian any money. They rely on Zhao Xueqing to make money for Jiang Tian to indulge in debauchery. Fuck. Lu Baiyao cursed and said disdainfully, if a man has no money, why are they still together? What a waste of life. If it were me, I would have divorced a long time ago. Jiang Tian is living off a woman. How can he be so shameless? That's not all. Fu Lanjun said with pity and sympathy, I heard that Jiang Tian is not in his right mind recently. He beats and scolds Zhao Xueqing all day long. There were 2 times when he beat her so badly that she was even hospitalized. Scum. Lu Baiyao sneered and said, how can there be such a weirdo in this world? He is ignorant and incompetent, but he even beats his wife. It's so disgusting. If I were him, I would kill myself. Fu Lanjun smiled and said nothing. Suddenly, Lu Baiyao looked at her phone and said with a smile, Fan Tao is here. He is accompanying me to buy a car. You are so rich and you still want him to buy a car for you. Do you like him? Miss Lu, what kind of car can't you afford? Fu Lanjun said with a smile. That's different. Men must be hooked and spent money. Otherwise, he will not cherish it. Lu Baiyao smiled slyly and got up to leave the tea room. Chapter 54. Famous Car Exchange is a 4S store that sells Audi, Mercedes-Benz, BMW and many other brands. Li Lanlan, you've been working here for a month and you haven't sold a single car. The company doesn't support idlers. If you don't have any sales this week, you can pack up and leave. The general manager of the 4S store glared at Li Lanlan and walked into the manager's office. Lanlan, you have to learn to be smart. You have to differentiate between those who can afford a car and those who are here to freeload off the air conditioning. Her colleague, Zhang Yan, looked at her resentfully and said, I've already taught you on the first day of work, but you're always muddle-headed. Every time there's a customer, whether they're here to buy a car or not, you keep introducing them. It's a complete waste of time. Sister Zhang, didn't you teach me that the customer is God? Li Lanlan said, feeling wronged. I think you've become stupid from reading too much. Zhang Yan lectured her like an elder, it's true that the customer is God, but if he doesn't have money, you have to believe in Buddha. You want to take care of everyone, but you ignore those who can afford a car. When people are unhappy, of course they'll leave. Where do you get your sales results from? Oh, I got it, Sister Zhang. Li Lanlan replied dejectedly. Screech. At this moment, a BMW X5 and a Toyota Crown braked and stopped in front of the 4S store. A man and a woman came out of the 2 cars. The man was less than 30 years old, tall and handsome, with a strong aura, like a natural leader. The woman had a graceful and exquisite figure, and was armed to the teeth from a famous brand. She had a beautiful face, a combination of innocence and charm, peerlessly enchanting. This is the person who buys a car. Learn from him and see how I introduce him. Zhang Yan said, and went to greet them with a face full of joy, giving people a feeling like a spring breeze. Sir, miss, I'm the sales consultant of this store. May I know what you need? Oh, I want to buy a car for my girlfriend. Fan Tao smiled faintly and did not mind. His father was the district head of the development zone, and he was quite famous in this area. Some time ago, the manager of this store wanted to treat him to a drink, but he was very low-key and refused. Buying a car for your girlfriend? This young lady is so lucky. Zhang Yan said with an envious look. She suddenly felt that Fan Tao was simply too manly. Her boyfriend who taught in high school could not be compared to the man in front of her at all. A smile that didn't have any traces of professionalism appeared on his face as he said, "Did you see any car models that you liked before? Do you want me to introduce them to you? A few 100,000, suitable for professional women." Fan Tao smiled faintly and said reservedly, "Our shop has many luxury car brands." Zhang Yan was very happy. Fan Tao looked like a rich man. Today, she would definitely complete a big order. Her fawning smile deepened as she led the two of them to the booth while enthusiastically introducing them. "This is the first time I've heard of this. This is the newly launched Audi TT, an imported car. It's small and exquisite, especially suitable for a professional woman like you. The lowest price is 500,000, and the highest price is 590,000. This is the Audi A3, an entry-level family car, priced between 180,000 to 260,000. Bai Yao, why don't you sit in this Audi A3 and try it out?" Fan Tao pointed at the car in the booth and laughed. "No, this car is not suitable for me." Lu Baiyao shook her head gently. Her family's assets were tens of millions. Driving a car worth millions was already embarrassing, let alone a car worth 200,000. Fan Tao worked in the system, so his income was limited. She understood that, but it couldn't be too bad. This Audi TT, the color is quite good. It's bright red, full of enthusiasm, and full of sportiness. Lu Baiyao raised her finger and pointed at the Audi TT. She meant that she couldn't drive this car out for social gatherings. She could only drive it to go shopping and buy groceries. Fan Tao's face flashed a trace of embarrassment. Although his father was in a high position and had made a lot of money, it was all black money that couldn't be exposed. Basically, it was all overseas. He had just worked for a few years, and his savings were only a few 100,000. It was a bit difficult to buy this car. But after thinking about it again, Lu Baiyao was a rich woman after all. A car in exchange for her favor was quite a good deal. Thinking of this, his heroic spirit suddenly rose, and his blood boiled. He waved his hand and said, "Buy. Buy. Buy this Audi TT. Only it is worthy of your identity." After testing the car, Lu Baiyao found the advantages of this car. She liked it very much and said with a smile, "This car's top is very good. I want the top." "Okay. Let's go with the top." In order to please Lu Baiyao and get married as soon as possible, Fan Tao gritted his teeth and agreed. "Well, sir, please sign the contract and pay here." Zhang Yan was very happy. She led the two to a tea table and asked Li Lanlan to make tea and coffee. Being hugged by Lu Baiyao, Fan Tao felt a burst of softness. He was very satisfied. But when he looked at the car purchase contract, he couldn't help but be stunned. "Hey! Isn't this car's top 590,000? How come it's 700,000? He drove a second-hand car that he picked up from his parents. He didn't buy it himself, so he didn't know the knack of it. "Oh, this includes purchase tax, vehicle and ship tax, insurance, license fee, and so on." Zhang Yan said with a smile. "Oh, so that's it." Fan Tao didn't have enough money. He felt embarrassed and smiled bitterly. "Bai Yao, why don't we buy a low-level car? It's almost the same." Although her parents would agree to lend her money, this would spoil Lu Baiyao to the point that she would be out of control. "Okay, low-level car it is." Lu Baiyao suddenly felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. If a man really loves you, he will be willing to spend money for you. Fan Tao was so stingy. Would he treat her well after they got married? Fan Tao immediately signed the contract. Lu Baiyao turned her head and looked at the scenery outside the French window and the door. Suddenly, she saw two familiar figures. She was shocked and couldn't believe it. Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing. Zhao Xueqing didn't know that Jiang Tian wanted to buy a car for her until now. She pulled Jiang Tian's hand and didn't want to go in. Jiang Tian, forget it. My Chevrolet can still be driven. We don't buy it. What can it be driven? That car was originally your father's leftover car, and it's already stalled twice. It's time to change. Jiang Tian tenderly stroked her hair and insisted. Don't buy it. I beg you, Jiang Tian. Zhao Xueqing was anxious and begged, I want to save money. I want to save money. Have you forgotten how hard our lives were before? Her beautiful eyes were on the verge of tears as she softly said, there was a time when I spent all my money on your treatment. We could only eat rice with chili sauce every day. Jiang Tian felt sour in his heart and sighed deeply. Yeah, he was too terrible in the past. Even now, Xueqing still didn't feel safe. Jiang Tian gently hugged her in his embrace and said in a gentle but firm voice, Qing'er, trust me. Today, we will buy the best car. After a period of time, we will live in the best villa. Don't you have confidence in your husband? I do. I have confidence in you. Hearing Jiang Tian's words, Zhao Xueqing couldn't refuse. Jiang Tian? Who's that? Fan Tao followed Lu Biao's gaze and asked with a frown. He first saw Jiang Tian and then saw Zhao Xueqing, who was even prettier than his girlfriend. He couldn't help feeling envious and disdainful. You can't even afford an Alto, so why are you buying an Audi? You're just a hedonistic son of a rich family. You're even worse than a chicken. Lu Biao snorted in disdain, that woman isn't a good person either. Oh, so that's the case. Fan Tao suddenly recalled that rumor had it that Lu Biao had a blind date with a thug named Jiang Tian in Jinling. He immediately felt unhappy. Ha, they're eating rice with chili sauce. He even said that he would buy the best car for Zhao Xueqing. And Zhao Xueqing actually believed it. How stupid can she be? Simply a weirdo. When she heard the conversation between Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing, Lu Biao sneered in disdain. Fu Lanjun said that Jiang Tian's family was busy with their own affairs. They didn't give Jiang Tian any living expenses. But Zhao Xueqing was just a small middle-level manager in Zhao's family. Her annual salary was only 200,000 yuan. Moreover, it was squandered by Jiang Tian. How can such a weirdo afford a luxury car? Sister Zhang Yan is really awesome. She signed a big order. The salesgirls were whispering to each other, full of envy and admiration. Oh, we have guests. At this time, they turned around and saw Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing coming in. Zhang Yan, who was dealing with the contract, glanced at Jiang Tian and sneered, ignore them. They're just freeloaders. Don't waste your time introducing them. Jiang Tian was wearing an ordinary t-shirt and dark blue casual pants. He was definitely not a luxury item. In addition, his cultivation had improved greatly recently, and his skin was fair and translucent, making him look even more youthful. He looked like a college student who had just graduated. Needless to say, Zhao Xueqing was frugal and simple to begin with. She was wearing a navy blue cotton dress. Although it was very beautiful and elegant, it was definitely not more than 200 yuan. Zhang Yan instantly judged that these two people couldn't really buy a car. Seeing them swaggering on the sofa, she was even more disgusted. Alas, the weather is too hot. There's no shortage of people who don't have money to buy a car but like to freeload. See how sister will kick them out. Suppressing the disgust in her heart, she sneered and walked to Jiang Tian's side. She said in a strange tone, are you two here to apply for a job? Please sit on the bench over there. This tea table and sofa are for guests. Oh, I'm here to buy a car. Can you take us to see the most expensive car here? Jiang Tian also smiled politely. Hee, Jiang Tian, you still want to buy the most expensive car. Hearing this, Lu Biao was in disbelief. She was stunned for a long time. Then she giggled and said with a mocking face, shameless and boastful. Xueqing already said that you guys are still eating white rice with chili sauce. Do you think you're Lao Gan Ma? You can buy whatever you want. She pointed at a luxury car in the booth and said disdainfully, the most expensive car here is that Rolls-Royce Phantom. Can you afford it? Chapter 55. Zhang Yan also felt disgusted. How could this person be like this? I'm still smiling, are you playing with me? I'll take you to see the most expensive one, can you afford the most expensive one? Fuck. I don't want to serve you anymore, the bonus plus commission is only a few thousand yuan a month, I have to endure this vexation. According to the rules, guests must bring a glass of mineral water. But Zhang Yan directly turned her face and went back to Fan Tao who was signing the contract, no longer willing to talk to Jiang Tian. She suddenly drank half a bottle of mineral water, feeling a little happy in her heart. Who told you to pretend? I despise people like you who don't have money but still pretend to be rich. The atmosphere was a little stiff for a while. Jiang Tian even thought about whether to buy a car in another shop. He didn't recognize Lu Baiyao at all. After thousands of years, there were not many people he could remember. This car looks very good. But suddenly he was attracted by the Rolls-Royce Phantom, walked over and looked left and right. Sir, what do you need? I can introduce you. Why don't you look at the Audi TT? This Miss Lu has just bought one. At this time, Li Lanlan ran over with a smile and pointed to the Audi TT next to her. She had just graduated and started working not long ago. She still maintained the innocence of a college student and treated every guest according to the company's program. Her smile was a big killer weapon. When she smiled, there were two shallow dimples on both sides of her face. But after listening to Li Lanlan's offer, Jiang Tian suddenly shook his head and said, no, the Audi TT is not worthy of my wife's identity. You don't really want this Rolls-Royce Phantom, do you? Li Lanlan looked sluggish and couldn't believe it. She hadn't read fairy tales for a long time. The so-called spending a lot of money was something that appeared in novels. She was used to seeing too many so-called successful people. When she saw this car, she just sighed and left. But this young man, who didn't look like the second generation of officials and rich people, actually spent a lot of money to buy this superb luxury car that hasn't been sold for half a year. Rolls-Royce Phantom, the top model, costs more than 9 million, Jiang Tian, what will you use to buy it? Lu Baiyao shook her head, her face full of disdain as she snorted sarcastically. It was one thing for a man to be poor and incapable, but he was also so slippery and frivolous. He was simply trash. Most men these days are not honest. Fan Tao shook his head with a mocking expression as he continued to study the contract and snorted, you're already eating white rice with chili sauce, and you still dare to brag? This fancy bragging technique, I'm convinced. Jiang Tian, are you crazy? After hearing the price of the Rolls-Royce Phantom, Zhao Xueqing's beautiful face was full of shock. She grabbed Jiang Tian's arm and said, Jiang Tian, why did you buy such an expensive car? I don't need it. That Audi TT is pretty good. Do you really want this Rolls-Royce Phantom? That's right. Jiang Tian said firmly. In her previous life, Jiang Tian did not know how to cherish her. He was irresponsible and watched as she was killed. Jiang Tian had felt guilty and longed for her for 10,000 years. In this life, he had finally been reborn. Not to mention a luxury car, even if she wanted a sky full of stars, Jiang Tian would pluck them just to win a smile from his lover. Sir, you really want to buy this Rolls-Royce Phantom? Li Lanlan was so excited that her voice trembled. Jiang Tian narrowed his eyes and smiled, which were beautiful crescents in Li Lanlan's eyes. He said again, "Yes, I'm buying it." As the Taichu Celestial Lord, he once sat on several continents of the cultivation world and had millions of territories. He was worshipped by the emperors of various countries, and many giant monsters and old devils acknowledged him as their master and ancestors. He really had no concept of money. Even if it was 10 billion, Jiang Tian would not hesitate to pay it, let alone 10 million. "Oh yeah. I sold it!" Li Lanlan shouted excitedly. Selling this car represented commission and bonus, status in the company, appreciation from her boss, and respect from her colleagues. How could she not be surprised and scream? More importantly, this was a breakthrough for her. Her performance had not improved for 2 consecutive months, which had made her a little discouraged. At this moment, she had regained her confidence. "This car is the treasure of our shop. It's worth more than 9 million. He can't even afford a tire." Zhang Yan said disdainfully. "Yes, I brought the girl here to show off. When it's time to pay, I'll tell you that there's a big deal to do. I'm short on funds, so I'll buy another car and leave." Fan Tao was very clear-headed, as if he did this often. "Mr. Fan, the contract is signed. You can pay now." Zhang Yan smiled. "Sigh, how can this be paid in installments?" Fan Tao looked at the contract and suddenly asked. "Yes, if it's installments, you only need to pay 20% and pay the rest every month." Zhang Yan introduced. This is good, this is good." Fan Tao smiled happily. Buying a car today was a big investment. He was afraid that he would have to scrimp and save for the next 6 months. But if it was paid in installments, it would be much easier. He could still maintain the quality of his life. Installments, it must be paid in installments. Fan Tao made the decision without hesitation. Li Lanlan's shout immediately attracted everyone's attention. "What did you sell?" Zhang Yan asked in surprise. "This Rolls-Royce Phantom. I sold it. I won't be fired." Li Lanlan rushed into the finance room to prepare the contract. "You bought a Rolls-Royce Phantom? Impossible." Lu Biao was shocked. "Jiang Tian is so poor, and the Jiang family is going to be finished. How can he have money? Fake. He must be faking it." Fan Tao said with certainty. "When it's time to transfer the money, he will say that there's a problem with the bank card. Yes, many rich people in Linzhou have seen this car. No one can afford it." Zhang Yan couldn't believe it, or she didn't want to believe it. The commission of this car was at least 200,000, which was equivalent to her 1 year's commission. But soon, Li Lanlan ran out with a stack of contracts and a wireless POS machine. Pay by card. On the way, Jiang Tian had transferred the money on the check to his bank card. 9.88 million. Rolls-Royce Phantom, top of the line, full payment. When Li Lanlan reported the price, Fan Tao and Lu Biao felt as if thunder had struck their ears. They were completely petrified. 10 million was the profit of Lu Biao's family for 5 years. It was 1/3 of their family property. 10 million was the entire family property of Fan Tao's parents after more than 20 years of embezzlement and bribery. This idiot trash definitely can't afford it. Even now, Lu Biao still couldn't believe it. But under everyone's stunned gaze, Jiang Tian casually entered the password and swiped the card. His calm face didn't look like someone who spent 10 million, but like someone who bought a cabbage in the market. Zhao Xueqing definitely won't be able to fork out so much money. How can Jiang Tian be so rich? Could it be that the Jiang family has recovered? Could it be that Jiang Tian has the ability to make so much money? At this moment, Lu Biao had to believe it. Her face was pale, her body was trembling, and her clear eyes were shining with tears. Shock, confusion, loss, dejection, regret, and all sorts of complicated emotions flooded his mind. Yes, Fu Lanjun must have made a mistake. Either Jiang Tian had the ability to make money, or the Jiang family hadn't declined and had given Jiang Tian a living allowance. But no matter what the situation was, the Jiang Tian today was someone she could only look up to, someone she couldn't reach. Once, Jiang Tian was her blind date. She could have gotten him easily, but she threw him away without hesitation. But now, she realized that the stone she had thrown away was actually a sparkling gem. Moreover, the gem was so dazzling that she couldn't look at it directly. She couldn't help but cry. Let's go. Fan Tao hurriedly paid the money and couldn't wait to leave. His face was swollen from the slap. He had given Lu Biao an Audi TT, which cost less than 500,000, and had to be paid in installments. However, Jiang Tian immediately took out a Rolls-Royce Phantom that was worth 10 million. Furthermore, it was a top-notch model and fully paid for. Now, Lu Biao didn't even bother to look at him. His insignificant self-esteem and confidence in front of Lu Biao had been completely shattered. Forget it, I don't want this car. Lu Biao tried her best to control her tears, but she still couldn't stop them from flowing. At this moment, Fan Tao, who still had some charm, was like a firefly under the sun and moon compared to Jiang Tian. He was insignificant and overshadowed. She thought that Fan Tao was a shabby beggar who could only embarrass her. She was full of regret. She struggled to get rid of Fan Tao and pursue Jiang Tian, but did she still have a chance? Looking at Zhao Xueqing, who was still in a daze, Jiang Tian waved the car key in front of her and said, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" Zhao Xueqing just nodded mechanically. She was so shocked that her heart couldn't beat, and she didn't even have the strength to speak. "Mr. Jiang, nice to meet you." Manager Fang was knocked out by this continuous combination of punches. He talked and laughed with Jiang Tian about the advantages of the shop's follow-up service. As for Fan Tao, he didn't even look at him. His Audi TT only had a commission of 10 to 20,000. There were many rich people in Linzhou, but not many people could afford a Rolls-Royce Phantom. Not to mention such a young man. This kind of rich second generation had no place to spend the money and frequently changed cars. They often became repeat customers. He had to catch them, so naturally, he didn't dare to neglect. His smile had been cultivated to a non-professional state, giving people a very sincere feeling. Jiang Tian smiled and said to Manager Fang, "I want to pick up the car today, can I?" He was very busy now and didn't want to waste time on such trivial matters. Manager Fang awkwardly rubbed his hands and said, "It's not that you can't, but now the insurance policy is implemented. That is to say, the policy is difficult to be issued on the same day. Even if the policy is issued, it will only take effect after 12 o'clock on the same day. Of course, if you don't worry, you can drive it away now." Seeing Manager Fang serval to Jiang Tian, Zhang Yan was nervous. She had difficulty breathing and felt like she was sitting on pins and needles. If Jiang Tian told Manager Fang what she did today, she would be punished and her salary would be deducted. She could only pray that Jiang Tian would forgive her and not bicker with her. "Oh, this Li Lanlan is good. You can promote her. This Zhang Yan's attitude is very bad. She just kicked me out," Jiang Tian said lightly. "Mr. Jiang, don't worry, I will deal with it seriously." Hearing Manager Fang's words, Zhang Yan's head buzzed. She felt dizzy and almost fell to the ground. Chapter 56. At 11 o'clock in the morning, everything was ready and Jiang Tian was forced to pick up the car. When the car passed through the gate, all the employees in the 4S store stared at it for a long time. "Congratulations Mr. Jiang for buying a Rolls-Royce Phantom." "Welcome again, Mr. Jiang." Li Lanlan took out a string of 10,000 firecrackers and set them off in front of the store. She gratefully watched Jiang Tian drive away. "Good luck." Jiang Tian rolled down the window and faintly smiled as he made a victory sign to Li Lanlan with his hand. "So handsome." "Thank you." Li Lanlan said in her heart. She blushed and lowered her head to smile. Li Lanlan was promoted to sales manager in a short time because of this business. Later, she made a lot of achievements in the field of car sales. However, Jiang Tian's gesture and smile were forever imprinted in her mind. How many times in the middle of the night, she would recall the scene that night and cry foolishly. Sometimes, the things you couldn't get were more mysterious and more valuable. In the world of all living things, even the most insignificant person would have a corner of their heart that no one else could reach. It was where their most beautiful memories were stored. Sister June, you made a mistake. We all made a mistake. Lu Biao rushed back to the socialite clubhouse and sat down on the sofa. She said anxiously. What mistake? Fu Lanjun didn't understand. I just went to buy a car and saw Jiang Tian buy a Rolls-Royce Phantom for Zhao Xueqing. Full payment, 10 million. Lu Biao exclaimed. She was full of envy and frustration. No way. The Jiang family's finances are tight. They wouldn't give him so much money. Fu Lanjun couldn't believe it. I saw it with my own eyes. How can it be fake? Maybe he earned it himself. Lu Biao insisted. How is that possible? Fu Lanjun calmed down quickly and smiled disdainfully. Jiang Tian is ignorant and incompetent. I heard that some time ago, he drank too much and became crazy. He can't even take care of himself. How can he make money? She stood up and looked down at the bustling night view of the financial street. She twirled the red sandalwood bracelet and pondered for a moment. Maybe they're puffing themselves up at their own cost. The Jiang family is on the verge of collapse, so they want others to think that they're capable. That way, they'll be able to get financing and stabilize their relationships in all aspects. She smiled contemptuously and said, this situation is too common. Many families or companies like to marry female celebrities when their finances are tight. The purpose is to show off their wealth and stabilize the chain of funds. In fact, he was simply sitting and eating until he ran out of money. They even borrowed money to eat their own food. So that's the case. Lu Biao pondered for a moment and felt that what Fu Lanjun said made sense. From the looks of it, I was a little impulsive. She sighed, frowned, and said, do you know, compared to Jiang Tian, Fan Tao is like a beggar, so I broke up with him. Isn't he going to buy you a car? Why did they break up? Fu Lanjun asked. He bought a car that cost less than 500,000 yuan, and he even bought it in installments. Isn't he ashamed? I thought his father was the mayor, so he should be rich. Who knew he was so stingy? Lu Biao said resentfully. Oh, it's good that you broke up. You're not suitable for each other. Fu Lanjun was not surprised. In their circle, except for the cold Tang Linglong and the silly Zhao Xueqing, almost all the girls changed boyfriends every few days. They were no longer those innocent little girls. They had to find a partner who was well matched in terms of social status and ability. After investigation, if the man was not as powerful, rich, and capable as they imagined, then they would happily change. Then you have to introduce me to another boyfriend. I'm old. Lu Biao begged. Now that you ask, I do have a suitable candidate. Fu Lanjun smiled. Who? Dragon Fifth Master's son, Long Gatian. Dragon Fifth Master. Didn't he start from a gang? Lu Biao hesitated. The Longwei group was dozens of times more powerful than the Lu family. The Longwei group was one of the top 10 families in Linzhou City. However, the problem was that Dragon Fifth Master started from the bottom. He was half black and half white, and his background was not clean. So what if he started from a gang? He's good friends with the Tang family's third master, Tang Wanyan. Fu Lanjun smiled. Moreover, Long Gatian is a law student. He has a master's degree in law, and he used to be a lawyer. Long Gaetian single-handedly cleaned up the Longwei group. He's quite capable. In Linzhou City, no one can beat Long Gaetian except Tang Wanyan's son, Tang Jianfeng, and Mayor Lu's son, Lu Tianle. He's also a lawyer. Lu Baiyao was surprised. She was tempted. Yes, the Longwei group was worth tens of billions, and had a powerful background. If she could get the Longwei group's protection, she would be able to do whatever she wanted in Linzhou City. That was before. He's now in charge of the entire Longwei group. What do you think? Are you interested? Fu Lanjun smiled and said, tomorrow is Long Gaitian's birthday. He's holding a birthday party at the Di Hao Club tonight. I'll take you to see him. Well, thank you, Sister June. If I can marry Long Gaitian, you'll be my benefactor. Lu Baiyao wagged her tail and begged. She felt much better. No matter how good Jiang Tian was, after all, he was a descendant of a fallen family. He could not be compared with Long Gaitian, who was in the limelight. I also hope that you can marry him. We're not young anymore. The best time for women is in these few years. You have to hurry up. Fu Lanjun smiled. Sister June, you're right. But why don't you find a boyfriend? Lu Baiyao held Fu Lanjun's arm intimately and asked. It's useless for me to be anxious. There's no suitable one. Fu Lanjun smiled and looked at her. In Linzhou City, only Tang Jianfeng was worthy of her. Long Gaitian and Lu Letian were not comparable to him at all. This weekend, Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing had a very happy time. Shopping, cooking, a peaceful life, but the two of them enjoyed it very much, just like a newly married couple. After buying the car, Jiang Tian helped Zhao Xueqing buy a few clothes and some daily necessities. On Sunday afternoon, Zhao Xueqing bought Jiang Tian the latest fruit phone. Her husband was not the same as before. Many big shots treated him as a guest of honor. Without a phone, he would be a primitive man. The moment Jiang Tian got the phone, he sent a text message to Shen Lu, telling him his number. In his previous life, Shen Li's legs were broken by Lu Wangfeng in order to protect Zhao Xueqing. Jiang Tian would never forget this kindness in his life. In this life, Jiang Tian wanted to return it 10 times or 100 times. Jiang Tian, come and help me. Today, I'm proposing to my girlfriend. As soon as the text message was sent, Shen Lu immediately called Jiang Tian back and said with a smile. Qing'er, I have something to do. After hanging up Shen Li's phone, Jiang Tian asked Zhao Xueqing. Zhao Xueqing was a little tired and did not want to participate in this kind of activity. She wanted to send Jiang Tian, but Jiang Tian refused and told her to rest early. He took a taxi himself. To Jiang Tian's surprise, Shen Lu proposed to his girlfriend at the Dihao Club. However, Jiang Tian did not greet Zhou Zhanghao. He did not want to be disturbed. He just wanted to have a good drink with Shen Lu tonight. Jiang Tian, you're here. Jiang Tian walked into the private room and Shen Lu immediately greeted him. Shen Lu was dressed to the nines today. His shirt was white as snow, and the seams of his branded trousers were sharp and straight like a blade. He even wore a red bow tie as if he was serious. In addition to Shen Lu, there were a few of his classmates and friends present. They were all wearing suits, holding saluting tubes, light sticks and plastic palms that could clap. On the wall, there were hundreds of balloons on the 4 walls, forming a red heart and a banner with the words, Li Danny, I love you. It seemed that this proposal was very important. Shen Lu pulled Jiang Tian to sit down and punched Jiang Tian. Where did you go after you resigned? Why didn't you leave me your contact information? Ha, I left in a hurry. Didn't I give it to you? Jiang Tian sat down next to him and said with a smile. The Taichu celestial lord had once dominated the universe and killed countless old demons and saints. Who dared to disrespect him and call him a bitch? However, at this moment, When his old friend addressed him in such a manner, it caused Jiang Tian to feel a sense of closeness. When my girlfriend comes later, you guys have to cheer for me. Liven up the atmosphere. Shenlu said with a smile. Don't worry. Everyone will help you. You're bleeding a lot for this proposal. Yeah, that diamond ring cost me 3 months' salary. It's worth 50 to 60,000. The brothers and sisters all agreed. Shenlu then introduced Jiang Tian to everyone and pointed at a girl. Li Rui, you don't have a boyfriend, right? Jiang Tian is also single. Li Rui was Shen Li's high school classmate. She worked in an advertising company and was already a department head. Her annual salary was 2 to 300,000. She was tall and slender, about 1.7 meters tall. She wore a sexy miniskirt and 8-centimeter crystal sequined high heels. She looked beautiful with cold makeup and wore a pair of snake-shaped pendants. She was dressed like a queen of the nightclub. Shenlu, what are you doing? Jiang Tian was about to refuse. But Li Rui looked at Jiang Tian with disdain and said, forget it, I'm not interested in such a small role. Li Rui's pursuers were as numerous as carps crossing the river. Her target was the rich second generation. How could she care less about Jiang Tian, an ordinary worker? Hee, Li Rui is just joking. Let's drink. Shenlu was embarrassed. Seeing that Jiang Tian was calm, he was relieved and asked everyone to drink. Suddenly, the door was pushed open and a tall, innocent-looking girl walked in impatiently. Shenlu, what are you doing? Haven't we already broken up? Danny, I know you're just throwing a tantrum. You still love me. Shenlu hurried forward and knelt on one knee. He took out a diamond ring and said sincerely, Danny, I love you. Marry me. Marry him, marry him. Marry him. Everyone cheered and their voices spread far and wide. There were also some who opened the gun barrel and with a few bangs, colorful confetti sprayed out. It was very lively. Li Danny picked up the diamond ring and sneered disdainfully, you have the nerve to propose with such a small diamond ring. How can a loser like you be worthy of me? She threw it to the ground as if she was throwing trash. Danny. Shen Li's smile froze on his face and he exclaimed. Everyone was embarrassed and looked at each other. Don't bother me in the future. I already have a boyfriend. Li Danny disdained and walked away. Sigh, she was a vain person in her previous life. I didn't expect that she would still be the same in this life. Jiang Tian's gaze was deep and long as he sighed softly. Chapter 57. That year, after Shenlu was beaten up by Lu Wangfeng, Li Danny immediately broke up with him and followed a gangster. Shenlu went to plead for mercy and was beaten up by Li Danny. He was heartbroken and desperate. It seemed that his return had also triggered a butterfly effect. History was not simply repeating itself. This breakup was actually brought forward. Danny, don't go. Give me a chance. Let's reconcile. I will love you for the rest of my life. I will make you happy. Shenlu was anxious. He grabbed Li Danny's wrist and begged bitterly. What's the use of loving me? Your family is in real estate construction, but the capital chain is broken. You can only come out to work. Li Danny smiled disdainfully. Your annual salary is less than 100,000 yuan. It's not enough to buy me a branded bag. Without money, what can you use to make me happy? With your mouth. Shameless boasting. She broke free from his grip and showed off the bag in her hand. She sneered. Look at this bag. My new boyfriend gave it to me. It's a limited edition Louis Vuitton. It's more than 100,000 yuan. Can you afford it? You had this bag 3 months ago. We hadn't broken up at that time. You cheated on me. Shenlu suddenly understood something. He was furious, but he still loved Li Danny and didn't do anything to her. Danny, how can you do this? Shenlu has sacrificed so much for you. Li Rui couldn't stand it anymore and said angrily. In order to earn money to support you, in order to buy a diamond ring, he drank with his clients until he had gastric bleeding. He worked overtime until he fainted and was hospitalized. When his family was rich, many young ladies chased after him. He didn't even look at them. He was loyal to you. You betrayed him like this. Are you still human? Humph, what betrayal? He's just a loser. He's not worthy of me. I dumped him. At that time, I had already proposed to break up with him. He didn't agree. Can you blame me? Li Danny argued unreasonably. Shenlu shook her shoulder and shouted angrily, Tell me, who is that scumbag? I'm going to kill him. Humph, it's me. A bald, burly man with a sinister smile walked in lazily, surrounded by a few burly men with stocky backs and thick waists. He looked at Shenlu arrogantly and sneered, I'm the one who made you wear a green hat, what can you do to me? You? Scum. I'll kill you. Shen Li's face was full of anger as he pointed at the bald man and cursed angrily. He was about to step forward and beat him up. Li Rui pulled Shenlu back to the sofa and said in horror, Shenlu, calm down, stop messing around. This was Brother Hui, Fu Xinghui, the leader of the Starlight Society. It's him. Everyone panicked and their expressions changed. The Starlight Society and the Black Shark Society were two new societies. Back then, they were both branch halls of the Dragon Might Association. Later on, Long Wei Association was washed clean and transformed into a legal enterprise, Long Wei Group. Starlight and Black Shark were also separated. But even so, the Starlight Society's strength was not to be underestimated. They monopolized more than half of the construction market in Linzhou. They also had hundreds of brothers who could fight and kill. Fu Xinghui was also a ruthless person with an illustrious reputation. His hands had taken at least 6 or 7 lives, and the number of people he had chopped off was uncountable. But he had the backing of Long Wei Association's Dragon Fifth and the Tang family's Tang Wanyan, so he was still safe and sound. Everyone was just a group of white-collar workers. How could they go against such a ruthless man? Shenlu clenched his fists and trembled all over. He glared at Brother Hui, but in the end, he slowly took 2 steps back and sat on the sofa dejectedly. Humiliation, it was too humiliating. He couldn't wait to tear Brother Hui into pieces. But Brother Hui was not someone he could afford to offend. Moreover, the other party had a few thugs with machetes. Even if he attacked, he wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. Brother Hui, he's always harassing me and scolding me. You have to teach him a lesson. Li Danny hugged Brother Hui's arm and pressed her full chest against it. He dares to harass you. Who does he think he is? He's worse than a dog. I'll take care of him for you. Brother Hui pinched Li Danny's butt as if there was no one around, causing the latter to laugh frivolously. Brother Hui, you're so bad. Hee, you call this bad? When we go back to the hotel at night, Brother Hui will fuck you in 18 positions. Then you'll know what bad is. Brother Hui was even more proud. He laughed loudly and pinched her little face. Then he turned around and pointed at Shenlu. He sneered. Shenlu, kneel down or I'll kill you. You're too much of a bully. Shenlu clenched his fists, stood up and shouted angrily. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling and his eyes were red. The other party was the first to take away his love. He hadn't done anything yet, but the other party was the first to force him to kneel. Was there any justice in this? This was simply too much. So what if I'm bullying you? You're not going to kneel. Brother Hui smiled sinisterly and his murderous aura was revealed. He shouted like a thunderbolt. Then I'll hack you to death today. I won't let any of your friends go. Also, your parents, I won't let them go. What? You? Everyone panicked and their faces turned pale. Everyone knew that Brother Hui wasn't joking. Those big bosses with assets in the tens of millions who competed with him for business were all killed by him, let alone a few ordinary people. The large private room was dead silent. Everyone's face was filled with fear and shock. Shen Luo was burning with anger. He couldn't wait to tear Brother Hui into pieces. But if he didn't kneel, his friends and parents would suffer. He might not care about his own life, but he couldn't ignore his parents and friends. Still not kneeling? How long do you want to wait? Brother Hui sneered. Swish, swish, swish. A few of his lackeys pulled out their shiny knives. Li Danny smiled viciously and pointed at Li Rui. Brother Hui, this bitch just scolded me. Let your brothers rape her. Good. Sister-in-law has good taste. This bitch looks really slutty. The lackeys were excited and rubbed their palms together. Li Rui's delicate body trembled in fear. Her heart was filled with despair. She advised in a trembling voice, Shen Luo, why don't you bear with it for a while and calm down? We can't afford to offend this kind of person. Fine, fine. After a moment of hesitation, Shen Li's face was filled with tears of humiliation. Suddenly, he bent his knees and knelt in front of Brother Hui. However, he only knelt halfway when he felt a pair of invisible hands holding his knees. He actually stood up. Shen Luo, you are my brother. In this world, no one is worthy of your kneeling. Jiang Tian crossed his legs. His face was calm. He sipped his beer and said calmly, I am Jiang Tian's brother. I don't kneel to heaven, I don't kneel to the earth, I don't worship gods, I don't fear ghosts, and I don't fear gods and Buddhas. If the heavens ask you to kneel, the heavens will collapse. If the earth asks you to kneel, the earth will collapse. If people ask you to kneel, they will die. If gods ask you to kneel, they will die. If Buddha asks you to kneel, he will die. If this dog dares to ask you to kneel, he will disappear from Lin Zhou today. Jiang Tian's voice wasn't loud, but it was deafening. It shocked everyone present. You're crazy. How dare you talk to Brother Hui like that? Li Rui was stunned. She couldn't believe it. She said angrily, are you trying to get us killed? But soon, Brother Hui recovered from his shock. He took a step forward and pointed his knife at Jiang Tian. He laughed maniacally. You little bastard, who do you think you are? How dare you act tough in front of me? I'm drunk. Get lost. Jiang Tian didn't say anything. He lightly slapped Brother Huey's face as if he was swatting a fly. Slap. Brother Huey's face was bloody and his cheekbones were broken. His molars were exposed. His whole body flew out of the door like a rag doll. Brother Hui fell to the ground. His limbs twitched a few times, but he didn't move. No one knew if he was dead or alive. How dare you attack Brother Hui? The members of the Starlight Society exclaimed. They couldn't believe it. Shen Luo, Li Rui, and the others were also dumbfounded. Jiang Tian, an ordinary worker, actually dared to make a move on a big brother like Brother Hui? Was he crazy? Attack? So what if I kill him? Jiang Tian took a sip of beer. His eyes were cold as he said lightly. Once upon a time, he had swept through the starry skies. Many divine sons who intimidated the starry skies had been killed by him with a raise of his hand. So what if he beat up a small society leader? Kid, just you wait. I'll call my men. The members of the Starlight Society shouted and ran away. Li Danny, don't go. Li Danny was about to run away, but Jiang Tian shouted at her. She was so scared that she almost burst into tears. She stood there and didn't dare to move. Jiang Tian, how can you be so reckless? Li Rui was anxious and scolded him. So what if you can fight? He has power and background. You'll get Shenlu killed. Why aren't we leaving? Are we waiting to die here? We'll get rid of him and wait for his brother to come. Jiang Tian said casually. He didn't take it to heart at all. Jiang Tian, thank you. Shen Li's blood was boiling. He held Jiang Tian's hand and said emotionally, if I kneel down today, I won't be able to lift it up for the rest of my life. Shenlu, you're too naive. Li Rui shook her head. She didn't have time to say more. She pulled Shenlu away. Let's go. Let's avoid it for as long as possible. I'll find some connections later and apologize. You want to leave? I'm afraid it's too late. Jiang Tian sighed and looked at the door. A dozen brawny men rushed in. Each of them was tall and fierce. They wore black suits and looked stern. Two of them were even holding shotguns. They were obviously more powerful than the Star Splendor members. Don't move. Whoever moves will die. Let's wait for Lord Dragon. A fiendish man shouted like a thunderclap. Which Lord Dragon? Li Rui asked. Who else could it be? Dragon the Fifth, the son of the Fifth Lord, Long Gadian. The brawny man said with a smirk. What? Long Gadian? Lord Dragon. When Li Rui and the others heard this, their expressions changed. They were so scared that their bodies went limp and they almost burst into tears. The dragon family was worth over 10 billion yuan. They had the support of the Tang family and could do anything they wanted in Linzhou. Dragon the Fifth, the king of Linzhou's underworld, Long Gatian, the most powerful man in the underworld. Brother Hui was just a small fry compared to him. Long Gatian could easily kill everyone in the room. Chapter 58. Humph, you dare to bully my cousin, do you want to die? In the crowd, a girl in a red dress walked in arrogantly with her chin raised like a high and mighty queen. She pulled Li Danny and said, Danny, are you okay? Cousin, this is the person who scared me and hit Brother Hui. Li Danny saw Lu Baiyao coming over and immediately hugged her arm, pointed at Jiang Tian and cried. Jiang Tian, it's you. Lu Baiyao's face was full of astonishment. She didn't expect Jiang Tian to be the one who hit Li Danny. Today, Fu Lanjun brought her to celebrate Long Gaitian's birthday. As soon as they met, she was fascinated by Long Gaitian's style. She was trying to curry favor with Long Gaitian, but she didn't expect a few henchmen from Star Splendor to go to Long Gaitian and say that Brother Hui was beaten and her cousin Li Danny was left behind, so Lu Baiyao came over to take a look. She expected that the person who dared to beat Brother Hui must be a great person, but she didn't expect it to be Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian, Brother Hui is young Master Long's man, he will be here soon, quickly lower your head and apologize. Lu Baiyao said arrogantly with a look of disdain and disgust. Seeing that Jiang Tian knew Lu Baiyao, everyone suddenly saw a glimmer of hope. They thought that with someone helping to mediate, there might be a chance. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian looked at Lu Baiyao in surprise and said, Who are you? Do we know each other? Damn, Lu Baiyao was speechless, she almost fainted from anger. I'm one of the 5 golden flowers of Linzhou, I'm a first-class beauty, I have a good family background, and I even met you once before. At that time, you tried to please me like a little puppy, who would have thought that you scum would turn hostile and say that you have no impression of me. Lu Baiyao originally wanted to say a few good words for Jiang Tian, but after hearing this, she immediately gave up the idea. Hee, you don't know me, but I know you. Lu Biao's face was filled with schadenfreude. She coldly snorted and said, Jiang Tian, the Jiang family is on the verge of collapse. How can a trash like you compare to young Master Long? Just wait for him to torture you to death. Really? Tell him to hurry over. I still have to hurry back to make soup for Qing'er. Jiang Tian smiled faintly and was too lazy to explain. Are you in such a hurry to die? Lu Biao was amused by Jiang Tian. Let's rush out, or we'll be beaten to death. Li Rui suggested in fear. Looks like that's the only way. Shen Lu and the other men grabbed their beer bottles. Jiang Tian, aren't you good at fighting? Why aren't you moving? You're the one who caused this trouble, yet you're not doing anything now. Are you even a man? Li Rui said angrily as she looked at Jiang Tian, who was sitting calmly. Just a few small fries like you. Hurry up and kneel down and admit your mistakes. Huh? Long Gaetian walked into the private room aggressively. He glanced around and found that there were only a few small fries in the room. How dare these few people act so arrogantly here? Suddenly, he saw a familiar face in the corner. Jiang. 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 It's you. Long Gaitian's face changed dramatically, and his voice suddenly rose a few octaves. He would never forget the scene where Jiang Tian killed Fu Biao with a single punch from 100 meters away. He would never be able to forget the scene of Jiang Tian raising his hand to control the lightning, shattering the Ghost King's soul and forcing Yang Guochang to kneel and beg for mercy. Moreover, Zhou Zhenghao vaguely said that the deaths of Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui were caused by Jiang Tian. But even if Jiang Tian killed them, so be it. The police couldn't find any evidence. They actually died without knowing why. After that, Long Gaetian was both respectful and afraid of Jiang Tian, as if he was looking at a demon. Get out. Kneel in front of the door. Jiang Tian picked up a piece of watermelon with a toothpick and put it in his mouth. He chewed slowly and swallowed it. His voice wasn't loud, but to the crowd, it was like a sudden clap of thunder. Everyone was dumbfounded by the shock. Jiang Tian, are you trying to get us killed? Li Rui was so angry that she almost burst into tears. What's the point of being able to fight? They have so many people and even guns. Long Gaetian has both power and influence. Killing us is as easy as crushing an ant. Humph. Jiang Tian is crazy, and you still say that he can make money. Fu Lanjun pulled Lu Baiyao's sleeve and sneered in a low voice. Boasting shamelessly and spouting nonsense. How dare he talk to young Master Long like that? If he isn't crazy, then what is? I was also shocked by him. Now it seems that he really is crazy. Lu Biao shook her head mockingly and looked at Jiang Tian as if she was looking at an idiot. Jiang Tian was too straightforward. He dared to hit Brother Hui and talk to young Master Long like that. Most importantly, he didn't even remember her. Lu Biao couldn't accept it. She was looking forward to seeing Jiang Tian being stomped to death by Long Gaetian. He must be a retard. He drank too much and lost his mind. Li Danny also looked at Jiang Tian mockingly. Long Gaetian didn't expect to run into Jiang Tian here. During dinner, he was discussing with Zhou Zhenghao how to build a good relationship with Jiang Tian and Master Kong. He had slapped away more than a dozen of Zhou Zhenghao's subordinates, condensed his energy into a sword and swept through half of the pavilion, killed Fu Biao with a single punch, and according to Li Jinwei, he had even killed a 10-meter-tall white ape and could control lightning to kill a ghost king with a raise of his hand. Long Gaetian was not afraid of anything in his life, he was not afraid of anyone, but he was afraid of Jiang Tian. If possible, he would give up 10 years of his life to avoid running into Jiang Tian tonight. However, he still ran into him. More importantly, Brother Hui was his underling, and he even sent people to surround Jiang Tian and speak rudely to him. Would he end up like Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui? His face was deathly pale. He wanted to cry but had no tears, and he began to tremble. At this moment, Jiang Tian asked him to kneel at the door. Long Gaetian felt as if he had been pardoned. Without any hesitation, he turned to the door and knelt down. He begged with a sobbing tone, "Master, I didn't know you were here." Seeing Long Gaetian kneeling at the door to Jiang Tian, everyone's heart stopped beating. Dead silence. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. Long Gaetian was the famous underground prince of Linzhou. He was on par with Tang Jianfeng, Lu Tianle, and Lu Wangfeng, and could suppress young masters like Wu Chaohui. Not only did he have a powerful background, but he was also ruthless and powerful. Everyone was afraid of him. However, at this moment, he was kneeling and begging for mercy in front of Jiang Tian. This was too inconceivable. What's going on? Why is he kneeling in front of Jiang Tian? Lu Biao couldn't believe it. In her mind, Long Gaetian was a superior young master, and she wanted to be close to him. Why would he kneel in front of Jiang Tian, a penniless guy? Why? Why is he so afraid of Jiang Tian? Fu Lanjuan's mouth was wide open, and 2 big duck eggs could be stuffed in it. Young Master Long really knelt in front of him. Li Danny's breathing stopped as she looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief. Shen Lu was born in a working-class family. How could he know such a powerful friend who could make young Master Long kneel in front of him? Who the hell is he? Isn't he Shen Li's colleague? How could he make young Master Long kneel in front of him? Li Rui's eyes were wide open, and she looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief. She was regretting it. She suddenly realized that she had missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This was someone who could suppress young Master Long. She was afraid that he could only be the children of those rich families who came to Lin Zhou to gain experience. Shen Lu also looked at Jiang Tian in a daze, and he exclaimed in his heart. How could this be? Seeing that Long Gaetian was done kneeling, Jiang Tian said indifferently, I don't want to see this Xing Hui person again. Yes. I will do as you say. I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. Long Gaetian quickly winked at his men. A few strong men came back to their senses from the shock, and carried Fu Xinghui who was struggling on the verge of death. Everyone's heart trembled, and their hair stood on end. The meaning of Jiang Tian's words couldn't be clearer. Although they didn't know how Long Gaetian would do it, Fu Xinghui was definitely done for. Jiang Tian was too powerful. With just one sentence, he could decide the life and death of a big boss. This is my brother, Shen Lu. From now on, Xing Hui's business will be handed over to him. Jiang Tian pointed at Shen Lu and said indifferently. No problem. Since Shen Lu is Mr. Zhang's brother, then he is my grandfather. Master Lu, we can go through the handover procedures right away. Long Gaetian hurriedly nodded. With just one sentence from Jiang Tian, even if he wanted to die, he would die. As long as he could keep his life, what was a little business? What? Shen Lu couldn't believe it, as if he had fallen into a dream. Xing Hui controlled the city's earth, stone, and river sand business. Although it looked inconspicuous, earning a few million a year was not a problem. It was a piece of fatty meat that oozed oil. But now, with just one sentence from Jiang Tian, Long Gaetian gave it to him. This was too much of a dream. Shen Lu, are you satisfied? Is there anything else you want to add? Jiang Tian asked with a warm smile. Satisfied. No, nothing to add. Shen Lu was shocked and stuttered a little. Then, how about we go back? Jiang Tian said indifferently. After this incident, I am afraid you have seen through Li Danny. I hope you have a good home. All right. Let's go. Shen Lu and the rest hugged Jiang Tian and walked out of the door. Farewell, Master Kong. When Jiang Tian walked out of the room, Long Gaetian was still kneeling on the ground and said with fear and trepidation. Arriving at the car park, Jiang Tian bid farewell to them. Jiang Tian, why are you helping me? Shen Lu asked emotionally. After all, he and Jiang Tian had only known each other for a few days. But at the critical moment, Jiang Tian lent him a helping hand and turned the tide. Because, you are my brother. Jiang Tian patted his shoulder and smiled warmly. Shen Lu, in my previous life, you had your legs broken to protect Xueqing. What I am doing today, how can it repay your kindness? Today is only the beginning. For others, I will push you to the top of Hua Xia's wealth and power. Brother, Shen Li's body trembled, and his eyes turned red. If he was asked to die for Jiang Tian, he would not hesitate. Jiang Tian, didn't you drive? Let me send you back. Seeing Jiang Tian going to the roadside to take a taxi, Li Rui was puzzled. Such a powerful person actually didn't have a car. She quickly chased after him and smiled sweetly. Chapter 59. Don't bother. It's very convenient to take a taxi. Jiang Tian said and walked to the side of the road to take a taxi. He's so low-key. He must be from Yanjin. Li Rui was disappointed to be rejected by Jiang Tian. But looking at Jiang Tian's back, Li Rui was even more certain of this thought. She could not help but feel regretful. Why was she so blind that she did not see through his background? She had missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Suddenly, Li Danny ran out, pulled Shen Lu and begged pitifully, "Shen Lu, forgive me, I realize that I still love you." "Love me? Love my money." Shen Lu pushed her away and said disdainfully, "You only came to me because you found out that I got Starlight's business. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? Get lost." Who would have thought that Shen Lu had such a powerful friend? Li Danny wanted to cry as she watched Shen Lu leave. She regretted it, but it was too late. After Jiang Tian left, Long Gadian wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and stood up. He sighed, "Luckily, he showed mercy and spared my life." "Master Long, is this Jiang Tian that scary?" Lu Biao asked in a daze. "Anyway, he's someone I can't afford to offend." Long Gaitian's face was solemn as he would never tell these ordinary people about Jiang Tian. "Master Long, you're worried about the Jiang family behind him, right?" Fu Lanjun quickly told him the information she had gathered. "Master Long, you're overestimating the Jiang family. According to my investigation, the Jiang family is on the decline. They're having a hard time running their business and are surrounded by enemies. I'm afraid they won't last long. And Jiang Tian's brain is not normal because he drank too much." Lu Biao interrupted. "Oh, I see. Anyway, don't talk about what happened today. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." Long Gadian ordered, but he secretly rolled his eyes at Fu Lanjun and the other woman. "I thought you were smart, but now it seems that you are not as smart as Zhao Xueqing from the Zhao family." Father, Third Master, and the others had already figured out the Jiang family situation clearly. How could I not know? However, a character like Jiang Tian was like a flying dragon that covered the sky. He was extraordinarily capable and could overturn the rich and powerful clans all by himself. Did he still need to rely on the Jiang family? Wrong. He himself was his greatest support. That's right, young Master Long. If you're unhappy, you can take revenge. This brat doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, and repeatedly doesn't put me in his eyes. So hateful. Lu Baiyao fiercely said. Well, don't worry about it. Long Gatian waved his hand, and a trace of annoyance appeared in the depths of his eyes. Originally, he had some interest in Lu Biao, but now he felt that this woman was boring. What a foolish woman. She doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. She even wants to provoke Master Kong. Isn't that just courting death? Moreover, she seemed to have a bad relationship with Jiang Tian. It was safer for him to stay away from her. Half a month later. These days, Tang Wanyan, Dragon Fifth, Zhou Zhenghao, Li Zhenwei, and the others followed Jiang Tian's instructions to search for the rare treasures needed to set up the spiritual gathering array. However, the results did not satisfy Jiang Tian. Crouching Dragon Villa, late at night. I bought this piece of deep-sea Xian iron from the antique black market for more than 8 million. Master Kong, please take a look. Dragon Fifth respectfully presented a piece of black metal to Qin Xiaobei. Jiang Tian took a look at it, shook his head, and sighed softly. If it's used to forge weapons, the effect is not bad. However, it's not good enough to set up a spiritual formation. You should know that to set up the 5 elements spiritual gathering array, the metal element must be Gungjin iron essence or immortal purple gold. Although this iron essence is good, it's still far from enough. Mr. Jiang, we are ashamed. Tang Wanyan, Dragon 5th, Zhou Zhenghao, and the others quickly cupped their fists and apologized. It's not your fault. Sometimes, it all depends on fate. Jiang Tian smiled faintly and waved his hand. Everyone fell into an awkward silence. Jiang Tian had done them a favor, but now, they could not help Jiang Tian at all. Oh right, Mr. Jiang, there's something that might be an opportunity. Suddenly, Dragon 5th's eyes lit up. Jiang Tian was a man of few words. The Open Sea Challenge tournament organized by Yi Gufeng is about to begin. Dragon 5th explained. There will be a large number of cultivation resources as prizes in this Open Sea Challenge tournament. In the past, some martial artists participated in this tournament. That's right. It's said that the martial artist who won last year obtained a purple heart vine. He used it to treat his son's injuries and immediately cured his seriously ill son. At this time, Dragon 5th took out a stack of photos and pointed at one of them. Master Kong, please take a look. This is it. This is the dragon bone vine. Jiang Tian frowned and looked at it. His eyes lit up and he sighed regretfully. It's a rare treasure. It's a pity that it's wasted. Master Kong, is there something wrong? Dragon 5th asked. This pill can be refined into a high-quality qi transformation pill. It can help martial artists condense their qi into qi and break through a level in an instant. Jiang Tianxin thought that martial artists had a poor understanding of cultivation resources. He shook his head and said, using it to treat illnesses is like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. Moreover, this dragon bone vine is a tiger and wolf medicine. It's even stronger than ginseng. If the medicinal effect is too strong, it might lead to side effects. I see. Everyone nodded. However, Jiang Tian was more or less interested in the Open Sea Challenge tournament. He asked, what is Yi Gufeng's motive for offering such a huge reward and holding this Open Sea Challenge tournament? Yi Gufeng is not an ordinary person. He started from a gang, but in the end, he married the daughter of a provincial secretary and became the CEO of a listed company, Ocean Far Shipping Group. He has nearly 100 billion in assets under his control. Tang Wanyan said with a hint of jealousy and admiration. This man is ambitious and ambitious. He is not satisfied with the East Sea. He has been trying to unify the East Sea, Jiangzhou, and the East Sea. He holds the Open Sea Challenge tournament every year and sends out invitations to the heroes of Jiangzhou and Linzhou. Firstly, he wants to recruit talents. Secondly, he wants to put pressure on Jiangzhou and Linzhou. Now, Jiangzhou has already been taken under his command. I see. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. Yi Gufeng was indeed a formidable figure. He was much more ambitious than Tang Wanyan and Dragon 5th. Yi Gufeng has many elites under his command. If he can unify the North Sea, he will be able to compete with Jiangnan's Wei Shuofeng. When the time comes, the two of them will stand side by side in Lingnan. Dragon 5th's face was full of regret. He sighed and said, Elder Tang is the most powerful martial artist in Linzhou. However, Elder Tang is a member of the system. He is a hero of the older generation. How could we invite him to participate in this kind of Jianghu dispute? We have not dared to participate in the Open Sea Challenge tournament for the past few years. What a shame! Tang Wanyan said angrily. Seeing that Jiang Tian was still looking at the picture of the dragon bone vine, Zhou Zhenghao suddenly had an idea. He said flatteringly, Master Kong, why don't we participate in the Open Sea Challenge tournament this year? Huh? Sure. Jiang Tian nodded with a smile, thinking that there was nothing he could do. Really? Master Kong, you are really going to do it. That's great. Tang Wanyan and the other two were so excited that they almost jumped up in joy. Humph. Master Kong will make Yi Gufeng kneel and beg for mercy. Tang Wanyan's blood was boiling as if he had been injected with chicken blood. The old man always looked down on me and said that I was a disappointment. However, quantity can lead to quality change. If I follow Master Kong to conquer Jiang Bei, I will soar to the sky. By then, the old man will definitely look at me with new eyes. Jiang Tian had just woken up in the morning. Zhao Xueqing pulled Jiang Tian aside and said, Jiang Tian, do you need some herbs or other cultivation resources now? Yes, but it's none of your business. I have a way. Jiang Tian did not expect that Zhao Xueqing would pay attention to his cultivation. His heart was filled with warmth. Well, I know a friend in the socialite club who owns a chain pharmacy. She has some rare herbs. I have an appointment with her. How about we go to her pharmacy together today? Zhao Xueqing said. A chain pharmacy, Jiang Tian smiled bitterly in his heart. How could a pharmacy in the secular world have spiritual herbs for cultivation? However, he did not want to brush off Zhao Xueqing's good intentions. He nodded and said, okay, then I will go and have a look. The main branch of the Chinese medicine pharmacy. The area was very large, and there was an endless stream of customers buying herbs. In the elegantly decorated general manager's office, a girl with picturesque features and a refined temperament was sitting at the back of the office desk and talking to Fu Lanjun on the phone. What a joke. Zhao Xueqing, that silly girl, actually said that her husband needs precious herbs for his cultivation. Cultivation? Spiritual herbs? Does she think this is a cultivation TV series? Idiot. Ha, her husband, Jiang Tian, is a lunatic. It's not surprising. Fu Lanjun did not know the secrets of the cultivation world. She immediately took it as a joke and laughed disdainfully. Probably Zhao Xueqing also wants to play along with him and coax him. Otherwise, if he goes crazy, she will be beaten. Oh my God. Her husband is Jiang Tian. Zhou Xianya could not believe it. She then said mockingly, no wonder she never brings her husband out after getting married. So it's because she can't show him off. You know Jiang Tian too? Fu Lanjun asked with a smile. Zhou Xianya laughed and said, I went on a blind date with him. He is an ignorant and incompetent playboy. I heard that his brain is not very good. Why is Xueqing so stupid to marry him? Zhou Xianya was the general manager of her family's Chinese medicine pharmacy chain. She was only 25 years old and already had 200 to 300 million in assets. She also had a beautiful face and a proud figure. Together with Tang Linglong and the others, she was known as one of the 5 golden flowers of Linzhou. How could such an arrogant girl take Jiang Tian, a hedonistic son of a family that was about to decline, seriously? Zhao Xueqing is not well liked in the Zhao family. She is used as a bargaining chip by the Zhao family. Fu Lanjun sighed, seeming a little regretful and sympathetic. She then laughed disdainfully. It's just that Jiang Tian likes to puff himself up at his own cost. He bought Zhao Xueqing a Rolls-Royce Phantom. He is really a fool with a lot of money. He is a good-for-nothing. The Jiang family is in a financial crisis, and he still dares to spend money like this. Contempt flashed in Zhou Xianya's beautiful eyes. She sneered and said, that's good. When he comes over, I will take advantage of him. Chapter 60. Xianya, are you there? Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Zhao Xueqing entered with Jiang Tian. Oh, Xueqing, you're getting more and more beautiful. Zhou Xianya hung up the phone and pretended to be enthusiastic as she pulled Zhao Xueqing to sit down. As for Jiang Tian, she didn't even look at him. He was a lunatic, a psychopath. Anyway, Zhao Xueqing would be the one forking out the money. Why bother with him? Xianya, don't tease me. Zhao Xueqing was a little uneasy as she forced a smile. Although they were all members of the 5 Golden Flowers, the Zhao family's financial situation was the worst. They only had a few tens of millions, which couldn't be compared to Zhou Xianya's family. Moreover, she was born from Zhao Huqing's ex-wife. Her uncle didn't dote on her and her grandmother didn't love her. How could she be like Zhou Xianya, who was doted on by everyone? In the socialite clubhouse, Zhou Xianya often made fun of her for her low-class attire and mocked her job and income. This made Zhao Xueqing feel a little ashamed. Okay, let's cut the pleasantries. I've already prepared the herbs. Take a look. Zhou Xianya immediately opened the mahogany cabinet and took out an exquisite jade box. She opened it and placed it in front of Jiang Tian. In the box, there was a ginseng that was as thick as a pinky finger. It didn't have a single root and was smooth and smooth. Under the light of the jade box, it emitted a strange luster. This is a 300-year-old ginseng. Xueqing, we're old friends. I'll sell it to you cheaply. 300,000. As she spoke, her clear eyes flashed with a trace of undetectable craftiness. Hubby, do you think this is okay? Zhao Xueqing couldn't tell if it was good or bad. She waited for Jiang Tian to decide. This thing can be worth 300,000. Jiang Tian smiled disdainfully and pushed the jade box back. He said lightly, in my opinion, this is just a ginseng that's been artificially cultivated for a year. Jiang Tian's divine sense was heaven-defying. With just a glance, he found that there was no spiritual energy in this ginseng. It was no different from a tree root. Do you know what it is? This is a 300-year-old wild ginseng. Zhou Xianya's heart was suddenly startled. Her beautiful face blushed, but she couldn't refute him. It was extremely difficult to identify medicinal herbs. In order to accurately identify the ingredients, one would either have to use modern high-tech methods to precisely analyze the ingredients, or be immersed in this field for a long time, with decades of effort, before one could make a judgment or two. However, Jiang Tian, who was an ignorant and incompetent idiot, was actually able to accurately determine the age of the ginseng and also know that it was artificially cultivated. This was too incredible. Oh, really? Then I won't buy it if I'm not satisfied with it. Jiang Tian shook his head. He was too lazy to expose Zhou Xianya's clumsy trick. In Linzhou, our medicinal herbs are the best. I have 100-year-old ambergris grass here. I'm just afraid that you can't afford it. Zhou Xianya was humiliated and couldn't keep her face. She angrily opened a safe and took out another set of medicinal ingredients. Dragon saliva grass, an extremely precious medicinal herb. It grows in the White Mountains and Black Waters of the Northeast. I spent 2 million to purchase it. Zhou Xianya said proudly. Seeing this, Jiang Tian's eyes lit up. This ambergris grass contained an abundance of spiritual qi and was quite extraordinary. How much are you planning to sell it to me for? Name a price. Jiang Tian said slowly. Xianya, Master Li Jinwei from Buddha Mountain is about to arrive in Linzhou. Have you prepared your gift? At this moment, a middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing walked in with a handsome young man. Uncle Zhou. Brother Haoran. Zhao Xueqing quickly stood up and greeted the newcomer. The head of the Zhou family, Zhou Qinghui, nodded arrogantly. He didn't take Zhao Xueqing seriously at all. The moment he saw Jiang Tian, a look of disgust and disdain appeared on his face. This kid chased after his daughter and harassed her in every possible way. How can a useless idiot like you be worthy of my daughter? You're just a toad lusting after a swan. The next moment, he saw the ambergris grass on the coffee table. He was shocked and scolded, Xianya, what are you doing? How can you take out this magical herb? Put it away. Dad, I'm just letting them broaden their horizons. Zhou Xianya was shocked and quickly put away the ambergris grass. You're not selling it? Zhao Xueqing frowned and was a little displeased. You're not selling it? Are you kidding me? Of course not. I have great use for it. Zhou Qinghui said matter-of-factly. Uncle Zhou, I want to buy this herb. I'll definitely give you a satisfactory price. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing, how can the two of you afford this magical herb? Stop joking. Zhou Qinghui snorted arrogantly and said, this magical herb is worth at least 10 million. 10 million is fine too. Jiang Tian didn't hesitate. If he wanted 10 million, Tang Wanyan, Dragon the Fifth, and the others would send it over in minutes. Are you kidding? Zhou Qinghui and Zhou Xianya were stunned when they heard that. The Jiang family was on the verge of collapse, and Jiang Tian had 10 million? Why would I joke about business? Jiang Tian insisted. Jiang Tian, the Jiang family is on the verge of collapse. How can you afford this magical herb? Zhou Xianya's pretty face was full of mockery as she sneered, this stock of divine medicine is a generous gift for an extraordinary person. Besides, you're ignorant, crazy, and stupid. You're a useless person. It's a complete waste of natural resources to buy it. Zhou Xianya's words were unpleasant. Jiang Tian frowned, but he was calm and couldn't be bothered to argue with them. However, Zhao Xueqing couldn't take it anymore. She stood up and said angrily, Zhou Xianya, you can refuse to sell it or humiliate me, but you can't insult Jiang Tian. He's not crazy or stupid. How can you say that? Humph, Xueqing, did I wrong him? Only you would treat a lunatic like him as a treasure. Back then, when he went on a blind date with me, he looked like a pig and even drooled. He even touched me. Disgusting. Hurry up and get lost. Don't wait for me to call someone to beat you up. Zhou Xianya crossed her arms and looked down at Zhao Xueqing from above. She smiled coldly, arrogant and despotic, and mocked her to the extreme. You're going too far. Zhao Xueqing was infuriated and wanted to say something. However, Jiang Tian pulled her hand and stood up. He sneered, it's just a dragon saliva grass. I can have as much as I want. Today, I wanted to give you an opportunity, but you don't know how to cherish it. So be it. Jiang Tian's clear eyes were calm and indifferent as he said slowly, in the future, even if you kneel down and beg me, Jiang Tian, to accept it, I won't accept it for free. Jiang Tian, I'll kneel down and beg you? What are you so arrogant for? Do you think the Jiang family is still the Jiang family and you're still the young master? Zhou Qinghui was so angry that his face turned red. He only reacted after 5 seconds and scolded in exasperation. He just said that we're selling fake goods. That's venomous slander. Zhou Xianya said angrily. You idiot, how dare you talk to my dad like that and frame us for selling fake medicine? I'll kill you. Behind Zhou Qinghui, the tall young man called Haoren took a step forward and lifted his leg to kick Jiang Tian. It was Zhou Qinghui's son, Zhou Haoren. He had a crush on Zhao Xueqing and pursued her for many years. However, Zhao Xueqing didn't accept him. He didn't expect that Zhao Xueqing would marry Jiang Tian. Zhou Haoren hated Jiang Tian to the core, but he couldn't find a reason to attack him. When he heard that, he immediately wanted to cripple Jiang Tian. When he entered the door, Jiang Tian found that this kid had some cultivation. He was at least at the phenomenal success level of Iron Body. His kick was powerful enough to crack a stone. If he were an ordinary person, he would be crippled on the spot. You're courting death. Since the other party was ruthless, Jiang Tian naturally would not hold back. He narrowed his eyes and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He raised his hand and sent out a palm strike. Crack! Zhou Haoren's calf was instantly fractured. He flew out like a rag doll and smashed the platform into pieces. It hurts. Zhou Haoren grimaced in pain. He held his broken leg and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. You dare to attack me? Zhou Xianya's face turned pale with fright. She couldn't believe that this lunatic dared to attack her brother. Jiang Tian, you are so arrogant and domineering. How dare you hit my son? I won't let you go. Zhou Qinghui's face was full of anger and hatred. I have been lenient enough. If I bicker with him, he would be a corpse now. Jiang Tian didn't bother to look at the two of them. He took Zhao Xueqing's hand and left. Zhou Qinghui quickly sent his son to the hospital. After a series of operations, the doctor told them a sad news: his right calf is fractured. There is no possibility of recovery. He can only be amputated. He can only use crutches or a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Zhou Haoren was crippled. I will take revenge. Jiang Tian, you will pay with your blood. Zhou Qinghui's face was full of tears. He gritted his teeth and wanted to tear Jiang Tian into pieces. Dad, Jiang Tian has the support of the Jiang family. Plus, he is a mental patient. Even if we call the police, it would be useless. Zhou Xianya looked at her brother who was lying unconscious on the hospital bed and burst into tears. She regretted her decision. Why did he have to be so nosy and provoke this lunatic? Now, her brother was in such a miserable state. Humph. Why would I call the police? I want him dead. Zhou Qinghui wiped the tears off his face and said through gritted teeth. Dad, don't be so rash. Murder is against the law. Zhou Qinya's face paled. Humph. The law is only for the weak. It doesn't work on the powerful. Zhou Qinghui said confidently. Jiangzhou City, Donghai, and Linzhou City will be hosting a tournament soon. Your uncle Zhenwei will be there as well. He will be staying at the Pearl River Hotel when he arrives in Linzhou City. We can ask him to help us kill Jiang Tian. Uncle Li Zhenwei from Buddha Mountain. Zhou Xianya's face was filled with admiration. She had heard of Li Zhenwei's name since she was a little girl. Rumor had it that his fists could crush rocks and kill tigers. His internal force was even more powerful than Master Tang. Zhou Haoren's martial arts were learned from Li Zhenwei, and he was quite strong. That's right. I asked him to give the ambergris grass to a senior master Jiang. Zhou Qinghui said proudly. This senior master Jiang is very popular in Linzhou City. I heard that he can summon ghosts, control lightning, and form qi into a fist. He can hurt people from 100 meters away. When he thought of the legendary Grandmaster Jiang, his heart surged with emotion. He waved his hand and said with vigor, Grandmaster Jiang, he waved his hand and said, if we can build a good relationship with this senior master Jiang, we will be able to do whatever we want in Linzhou City. As for Jiang Tian, if I want him dead, he will die. Chapter 61. Are you serious? Why does it sound like a myth? Zhou Xianya couldn't believe it. How could it be fake? Now Tang Wanyan, Dragon the Fifth, Zhou Zhenghao, and other top tycoons are all under his command. No one dares to disobey his orders. What? Third Master Tang, Dragon the Fifth, and Brother Hao. Zhou Xianya's face was filled with shock as she muttered these thunderous names. She said in a daze, they all listened to his orders. She felt a burst of longing in her heart. What a dazzling man. It would be great if she could marry him. Unfortunately, he was more powerful than Uncle Li Zhenwei. He must be an old man with a white beard. His age was not suitable. If only I was born a few decades earlier. He definitely can't escape from my hands. Thinking of this, she could only shake her head regretfully and dispel this crazy idea. Zhou Qinghui said proudly, whether it's your Uncle Zhenwei or Senior Jiang, killing Jiang Tian is as easy as killing a bug. No one will know. Jiang Tian, I'm sorry. I didn't expect Zhou Xianya to make fake medicine. The Zhou family is so rude to you." In the car, Zhao Xueqing looked apologetic. Her husband was not the same as before. Even Tang Wanyan and the others were obedient. Today, he had to endure this. "It's not your fault. Don't take it to heart." Jiang Tian squeezed her little hand and comforted her gently. In his previous life, Zhao Xueqing had suffered so many grievances for him. Taking care of a crazy husband made her a big joke in Linzhou. In comparison, what Jiang Tian suffered today was nothing. Besides, Zhao Xueqing had good intentions. "It's just," Zhao Xueqing said hesitantly, "can you not be so violent? You hit him too hard." Jiang Tian smiled and said, "Do you know why I hit him?" "Why? Isn't it because he wanted to hit you?" "If that's the case, I wouldn't have hit him so hard." Jiang Tian laughed and said, "As soon as you entered the door, his sneaky eyes peeked at your chest under your skirt. He's up to no good." "How disgusting. Who would have thought that the mighty Master Kong would actually be jealous of me?" Zhao Xueqing was overjoyed, but her heart was filled with sweetness. She was as happy as a flower. The Pearl River Hotel was the most luxurious 5-star hotel in Linzhou. It belonged to the Guangxia Group. The morning sun gushed out and shone brightly. The 38-story Pearl River Hotel stood on the banks of the Pearl River. It was like a sword inlaid with gems, piercing the sky. When they came to a presidential suite, Zhou Xianya was a little nervous as she asked, "Dad, Uncle Li is staying in such a good hotel? Aren't the people who practice martial arts very poor?" "Poor?" Zhou Qinghui shook his head and said with a smile, "The poor study while the rich practice martial arts. Which one of those who practice martial arts isn't a wealthy generation? Although your uncle Zhenwei is usually very simple, he has a net worth of 1 billion. "What? 1 billion? So rich?" Zhou Xianya's beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. Dragon V spent tens of millions just to invite him once. When Dragon V sees him, he has to call him master. Zhou Qinghui said enviously, "The top class in Huaxia is occupied by the martial arts families. Even the political and business families in Huaxia have to be courteous to them and treat them as VIPs. Ah! The martial arts families are so powerful." Zhou Xianya couldn't believe it. It was as if the door to a new world had been opened. "Before I came into contact with martial artists, I didn't know either," Zhou Qinghui said with a serious face. "When you see your uncle Zhenwei later, you must perform well. Don't be rude." "Dad, don't worry." Zhou Xianya nodded seriously. Seize the opportunity." Zhou Qinghui was relieved and knocked on the door carefully. "Uncle Zhou, Xianya, you are here. Come in quickly." The exquisite carved mahogany door opened and a tall and handsome young man greeted politely. "Brother Bo Kai, you are here too." Zhou Xianya's eyes lit up when she saw the young man. A blush appeared on her face as she greeted him obediently. Li Bo Kai was Li Zhenwei's son. They were originally betrothed before they were born. She didn't expect that after 3 years, he had become even taller and more handsome, full of masculine and mighty aura. Looking at the muscles that filled his shirt gave her a long-lost sense of security, which made her blush and her heart beat faster. Dragon V, Chairman of Longwei Group. Chairman Zhao of Huanhai Real Estate. Vice Chairman Liu of Huanyu Pharmaceutical, Mr. He, founder of Tianhe Entertainment. Movie tycoon Wang Guangwei. Zhou Xianya was dumbfounded as soon as she entered the door. In the huge living room, a circle of sofas was filled with famous tycoons in Linzhou. These people's assets were at least 1 billion. Each of them was dressed luxuriously and had an extraordinary bearing. In terms of status, they were much stronger than her father. Now, they were like a group of primary school students clustered around Li Zhenwei, who was sitting in the middle. Some of them flattered him and some of them called him brother. Master Li, congratulations on your breakthrough to the peak of internal force. Here is the key to an Audi supercar. Please accept it. Master Li, I'm just a layman. I don't have anything good. Here is 3 million. Consider it as my gift. Master Li, your cultivation has improved again. Please take care of us in the future. Master Li, the last time my enemy came, it was thanks to you that he was able to beat the crap out of him. I will never forget such a great kindness. Among these people, only Dragon the Fifth was on equal footing with Li Jinwei. However, his face was filled with respect. Uncle Jinwei is so powerful. Seeing this, Zhou Xianya's beautiful eyes flickered with splendor, and her opinion of Li Bukai increased. Sigh, if I could reach Brother Jinwei's level, I would die without regrets. Zhou Qinghui's face was filled with envy. Hee, brothers, you are too kind. Li Jinwei said politely, but he allowed his son to accept all the gifts. However, it was all thanks to Master Kang's enlightenment in the White Ape Valley that I was able to break through to the initial transcendent state. Li Jinwei said solemnly. I live in Buddha Mountain and can't serve Master Kang all the time. You brothers in Lin Zhou have to help me show your filial piety. Li Jinwei slowly looked around the room. As long as you become Master Kang's friends, you will be my brothers. Although I am not talented, I will not stand by and do nothing when my brothers are in trouble. That Master Kang is really that powerful. Zhou Xianya exclaimed. This was the second time she had heard of Master Kang's name. Of course. The rich people in the room thumped their chests and said, even Dragon the Fifth, Dragon the Third, and Brother Hao worship Master Kang. If Master Kang has any instructions, we will be at your service. Director Zhao of Tianfeng Real Estate said with a bitter smile, Master Li, it's not that we don't want to pay Master Jiang a visit to express our filial piety. It's just that we've asked for Master Jiang's help many times, but Master Jiang's whereabouts are elusive. Hee, you are right. Master Kang is the sun and the moon in the sky. He is a dragon among men. How can ordinary people like us meet him whenever they want? As soon as Li Jinwei said that, the crowd shook their heads and sighed. They were extremely disappointed. The next instant, Li Jinwei smiled and said, however, Grandmaster Jiang will take action in the public nuisance arena. This time, Master Kang is going to arm wrestle with Yi Gufeng. What? Master Kang is going to take on Yi Gufeng. Everyone in the room was shocked and dumbfounded. They could not believe it. This senior Jiang is actually so powerful that he doesn't even fear a magnate like Yi Gufeng. Zhou Xianya shuddered. That was the tycoon of Donghai, Yi Gufeng. If Master Kang fights, those small fries under Yi Gufeng are nothing. Dragon Fifth was full of confidence and snorted disdainfully. Li Jinwei pointed at Li Bukai and smiled. Master Kang's power is not something you can imagine. With the cultivation method taught by Master Kang, my useless child broke through to the initial success of internal force in half a month. What? That's amazing. I can't believe that Akai has become an internal force expert. 2 masters in one sect, 2 masters in one sect. I must go and take a look at the public nuisance arena. 500,000 yuan for a ticket is nothing. Yeah, let's go and cheer for Master Kang. Let's see Master Kang's peerless style. The rich people in the room were amazed and flattered. At the same time, they were even more fascinated by Master Kang who they had never met before. I can't believe that Brother Akai has also become an expert. That's amazing. Zhou Xianya's beautiful eyes sparkled. She hugged Li Bukai's arm and pouted. Her beauty was beyond compare. I'm not an expert. Compared to a real expert like Senior Jiang, I'm nothing. Feeling a burst of softness on his arm, Li Bukai's heart was like a monkey on a horse, and he almost had a nosebleed. After 3 years, his fiancée had completely matured. It was time to pick the fruit. At this time, Li Bukai pushed Zhou Xianya and Li Bukai to the front. Dad, Uncle Zhou and Xianya are here. Uncle Li, you must be tired. Zhou Xianya smiled politely and very consciously picked up the teapot to pour tea for everyone. When she bent down, she didn't forget to touch her chest with her hand to avoid exposing herself. Her movements were elegant. Brother Zhou, please sit down. Xianya is getting more and more beautiful. Li Zhenwei smiled, but a trace of imperceptible coldness flashed in the depths of his eyes. Zhou Xianya was beautiful, tall, sensible, and generous. She was more than enough to match his son. But now, his son was not the same as before. He had broken through the level of internal strength and was already a martial arts master. Zhou Xianya was too far behind. Zheng Guangxia's daughter is more like it. Zhou Qinghui noticed the coldness in his eyes and couldn't help but feel his heart skip a beat. He smiled apologetically and said, Brother Zhenwei, I want to see you this time. First, I want to ask you to take me to see Master Kong and give him a generous gift. Second, I want Bukai and Xianya to get married as soon as possible. They are not young anymore. Brother Zhou, you are too anxious. The children are still young. Li Zhenwei smiled coldly. Hearing this, Zhou Xianya's hand holding the teacup suddenly trembled. She didn't even notice that the hot water was poured on her hand. Chapter 62. Dad, Xianya and I are childhood sweethearts. We love each other very much. Please help us. Li Bukai hurriedly said earnestly, Xianya is the woman I want. Don't try to break us up. How dare you talk to me like that? Li Zhenwei raised his eyebrows and scolded, ignorant bastard. If you want to enter the Li family, you have to go through me first. If I don't agree, you can be a bachelor for the rest of your life. Zhou Qinghui didn't expect Li Zhenwei to change his mind. He was embarrassed, but he wouldn't give up so easily after seeing Li Zhenwei's power today. Today, he had to climb up the social ladder. He squeezed out a smile and said, Brother Zhenwei, their marriage was decided 10 years ago. As long as they get married, I won't accept a penny of betrothal gift. In addition, I will give them 30% of my company's shares, 30% of the shares, that was tens of millions. Many rich people present gave him a thumbs up in their hearts. Zhou Qinghui was flexible. In order to climb up the social ladder of the Li family, he not only gave away his daughter for free, but also put in a lot of money. How ruthless. What's 100 million betrothal gift? Li Zhenwei's expression didn't change. He looked down at the father and daughter of the Zhou family and said lightly, Brother Zhou, it seems that you don't know what an internal force warrior is and how much it is worth. Then please go to the Open Sea Challenge tournament today and see it clearly. It turns out that in Uncle Zhou's eyes, I don't deserve Brother Kai at all. What should I do? Zhou Xianya was embarrassed and anxious. Her pretty face was almost dripping blood. Her eyes were red and her beautiful eyes were about to cry. Dad, Li Bukai still wanted to say something, but Li Zhenwei had already stood up and shouted angrily, What are you waiting for? Let's go. If Master Kong is anxious, you and I will have to bear the consequences. Seeing that the marriage was about to fail, Zhou Xianya was in despair. She felt weak all over and almost sat on the ground. Li Bukai hurriedly pulled her and whispered, Uncle Zhou, Xianya, don't worry. Today, we will see Master Kong and ask him to make the decision. My dad is most afraid of him. If Master Kong approves of our marriage, my dad won't dare to say a word. Seeing Li Bukai pull the father and daughter of the Zhou family into the car, Li Zhenwei snorted coldly. His face was displeased, and he slowly closed his eyes to rest. Uncle Li, is that Master Kong very powerful? Zhou Xianya tried to find something to talk about. Of course. Master Kong, nicknamed the Beginning, was the #1 hero in Linzhou. In Linzhou, the #1 person you can't afford to offend is naturally Tang Guizhu from the Tang clan. At the mention of Master Kong, Li Junwei was finally willing to open his mouth. The second is Master Kong. He can control thunder and lightning, condense qi into a weapon, and attack people from 100 meters away. So powerful, the Zhou father and daughter sighed together. Then, Zhou Xianya smiled and said, however, since Uncle Li and Ah Kai can become Master Kang's disciples, no one will dare to provoke them in the future. Don't spout nonsense like that. Li Junwei's face suddenly turned serious. He said in a low voice, Master Kong is like a dragon in heaven. He is very strict when it comes to choosing disciples. Even I am not qualified to be his disciple, let alone Ah Kai. It's just that he is kind enough to teach me some kung fu. The Zhou father and daughter were shocked beyond words. Master Kong was too powerful. Li Junwei was so powerful that he didn't even qualify to be his disciple. Let me remind you, in Lin Zhou, do not offend Master Kong. The Tang family has made him an honorable guest. Li Junwei said solemnly, if you offend him, you will offend the Tang family as well. When that happens, you will be doomed forever. Uncle Zhou, don't worry. If we see Master Kong, we will be respectful. Zhou Xianya quickly promised. Brother Wei, here is a stalk of ambergris grass. Please pass it to Master Kong. Zhou Qinghui held out a brocade box and smiled. Ambergris grass. Hearing this, Li Junwei's face showed a long-lost smile. He sighed and said, okay, Brother Zhou, thank you. If Master Kong is satisfied, you will be climbing up the tree. The key is that Brother Wei needs to put in a few good words for me. Zhou Qinghui slowly exhaled, as if relieved of a heavy burden. Suddenly, Li Junwei's phone rang. He picked it up and said angrily, this Zhou Zhenghao is too good at taking credit. He is a master of flattery. He has already gone to pick up Mr. Jiang. Everyone looked at each other. Li Junwei waved his hand helplessly and said, I wanted to go to Master Kang's place to show off. Now it's useless. Let's go to Crouching Dragon Villa and wait for Master Kong. Master Kong, this time, the reputation of the entire Lin Zhou depends on you. In the living room of the Era mansion, Zhou Zhenghao and Tang Wanyan held their fists together and bowed sincerely. Okay. Jiang Tian nodded slightly and turned around with a smile. Qing'er, come with me. Let's go to Crouching Dragon Villa to meet our friends in Lin Zhou and have a quick chat. We will board the ship in the afternoon. Okay, I have never been on a high-seas gambling ship before. Zhao Xueqing was excited. In the past, Zhao Xueqing worked overtime day and night in order to earn money. When she finally had a holiday, she would stay at home and watch TV to pass the time. Today, she could go to the high-seas gambling ship with Jiang Tian and enjoy the view of the sea. She was very satisfied. She was like a bird that had left its cage and could fly freely in the vast sky. Most importantly, she did not have to spend any money. Then let's go. Jiang Tian pulled her hand and stood up with a smile. Zhao Xueqing held Jiang Tian's hand and said worriedly, Jiang Tian, I heard that you are going to fight on the ship this time. Ah ha, I forgot. Qing'er, you don't like me to fight, right? Then let's not fight. Jiang Tian said firmly. Master Kong, I know you love your wife, but you can't spoil her like this. Hearing those words, Tang Wanyan and Zhou Zhenghao's hearts skipped a beat. They immediately knelt on the ground with ashen faces. If Grandmaster Jiang wasn't there to suppress them, then when they reached the high seas gambling ship, wouldn't they become fish on Yigufeng's chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered? Madam Jiang, this is not a fight. This is a martial arts competition. Zhou Zhenghao begged with a bitter look on his face, we only have Master Kong as our backer. If he doesn't help us, we will be finished. Martial arts competition. Like a competition with rules. Zhao Xueqing obviously misunderstood. She thought of martial arts competition as a civilized competition like taekwondo and karate. Well. Zhou Zhenghao didn't dare to say anything. Well, something like that. Jiang Tian said with a smile as he threw a glance at Zhou Zhenghao and Tang Wanyan, telling them not to talk nonsense. Sooner or later, Qing'e would know about the world of martial arts. When the time came, he would explain it to her. Qing'e was smart and would understand. Great. Let's go to the gambling ship. I have never been on a cruise ship before. Will there be seagulls? Can we fish? Zhao Xueqing immediately pulled Jiang Tian out of the mansion happily. Looking at Zhao Xueqing's jubilant appearance, Jiang Tian felt a deep sense of guilt in his heart. From now on, I will take you to see the world as beautiful as a painting. I will take you to the stars and enjoy the boundless universe. Jiang Tian smiled tenderly and got into Zhou Zhenghao's Mercedes-Benz. Looking at Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing's back, Zhou Zhenghao sighed. I'm afraid that Master Kong will only smile in front of Ms. Zhao. When he recalled the coldness and boundless arrogance that Jiang Tian's eyes revealed when he faced him, he understood that even though he'd already established a relationship with Jiang Tian, he was utterly unqualified to be on equal footing with Jiang Tian. Soon, they arrived at Crouching Dragon Villa. Tang Wanyan reported, Master Kong, my father is still on the way. It's okay. I will accompany Xueqing to the perfume pavilion. Jiang Tian signaled the two to stay put. He held Zhao Xueqing's hand and walked into the unique courtyard. The courtyard was located in the back garden. Zhao Xueqing had been here once and liked it very much. Tang Wanyan left it for Jiang Tian and his wife to use for their vacation. It was not open to outsiders. Entering the small courtyard of the Listening Fragrance Waterside Pavilion, an old man quickly came up to greet them. He bowed and said, Ghost Kick greets Grandmaster Jiang. Why are you here? Jiang Tian walked into the living room and asked with a smile. I have been in Crouching Dragon Villa for 3 days. I have been waiting for Master Kong to come. Ghost Kick knelt on the ground and said sincerely, Ghost Kick is willing to serve Master Kong as my master for the rest of my life. He had been thinking about this for a long time. He had begged Jiang Tian to be his master but was rejected by Jiang Tian. He would rather settle for the next best thing, being Jiang Tian's follower and fighter. After spending so much time together, even if Jiang Tian taught him a little, it would be enough for him to reach the peak of martial arts. Now, in order to curry favor with Jiang Tian, all the tyrants were racking their brains. Tang Wanyan, Dragon Fifth, Zhou Zhenghao, and Li Zhenwei were all wealthy. They gave him mansions, money, and cultivation resources. But Ghost Kick had lived in seclusion for more than 10 years. He could only give him his peerless martial arts and his courage. Do I need your protection? Jiang Tian sat down on the armchair and looked down at this veteran martial arts master with a faint smile. Ghost Kick's body trembled and his face turned pale. But he immediately said, Mr. Jiang definitely doesn't need it. But what about Mrs. Jiang? Okay. This matter is settled. Get up. Jiang Tian's heart skipped a beat. He had not gotten rid of his enemies in Jinling. Once he went into seclusion, Zhao Xueqing would be alone. It was good to have someone to take care of her. Thank you, Grandmaster Jiang, for granting my wish. From now on, this old man will definitely treat Madame Jiang as his mother and ancestor. I will protect her with my life. If Madame Jiang loses a single hair, I will bring my head to Grandmaster Jiang. Ghost Kick was so excited that his body trembled. He was so touched that tears streamed down his face. He kowtowed repeatedly. This is the back garden. Isn't it beautiful? That's the perfume pavilion. It's the most exquisite little courtyard. So, it's Miss Tang's room. Master Kong was resting. Elder Tang had not arrived yet. The gathering had not started yet. Li Bukai took Zhou Xianya to the back garden for a stroll and a chat. At this time, a group of tycoons was waiting in the front yard. There was no one to disturb them here. I didn't expect to see such a grand scene in Linzhou. Kai, if you didn't bring me here, I would have been a frog at the bottom of the well. Shocked by the luxurious atmosphere of Crouching Dragon Villa, Zhou Xianya held Li Bukai's wrist with a self-deprecating smile. She, Fu Lanjun, and Lu Biao called themselves the queens of the socialite clubhouse. They were very proud of themselves and thought that they were the socialites of the upper class. However, after seeing the vast property of the Tang family, she realized that they were not the real upper class. Their arrogance was laughable. However, she was secretly proud of herself. No matter what, she had finally come into contact with the upper class. When she met Master Kong later, she would immediately ask him to deal with Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing. Let them die without a burial place. Chapter 63. Xianya, don't say that. Li Bukai's heart skipped a beat when his arm was touched by her soft and warm hand. This was the first time she had taken the initiative to hold his hand. The blood in his body was boiling because of this, and he promised. If you like it here, I'll talk to Third Master Tang later. He still gives my father some face. You can come and play at any time. You can even meet Elder Tang and Miss Tang. Really? That's great. Zhou Xianya was overjoyed. She thought to herself, Zhao Xueqing, that silly girl, probably won't have such an opportunity. She looked affectionate and said gently, Bukai, you're so good to me. I'm so touched. I'll be good to you for the rest of my life. When we meet Master Kong later, we'll beg him directly. Li Bukai said gently. Thank you, Zhou Xianya nodded. Suddenly, she asked seriously, how old is Master Kong? I've never met him. My father didn't tell me either. Li Bukai said awkwardly, he's a carefree person. My father invited him to stay at the Li family, but he refused. However, for him to have this level of cultivation, I'm afraid he's in his 60s. In short, if you meet a sage-like old man in his 60s, respect him 100 times more. Kai, you're so smart. Zhou Xianya looked at Li Bukai with admiration and kissed him on the cheek. Li Bukai was overjoyed. It was wonderful. That's strange. How did they sneak in? Suddenly, Zhou Xianya's eyes lit up. She saw Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing strolling out of a chic courtyard. There was an old man following behind them. Bukai, this is the guy who broke my brother's leg. Avenge me. Zhou Xianya snorted coldly and rushed towards Zhao Xueqing. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws as she cursed, bitch, stop right there. Xueqing, now that you've successfully developed the muscle tonifying ointment, you can take your annual leave and come here to rest for a few days. Jiang Tian smiled. What do you mean my research is successful? It's all thanks to my husband. Zhao Xueqing pursed her lips and smiled. Suddenly, Zhou Xianya rushed over and spoke rudely. Zhao Xueqing was immediately disgusted. She said coldly, what adulterous couple. Show some respect. Respect? What do you have that's worthy of respect? You, Zhao Xueqing, are penniless, and your husband is a good-for-nothing. Zhou Xianya sneered and said, how can you possibly have the qualifications to enter such a high-class place? He must have snuck in to steal something, right? You've gone too far. You're slandering us. The Tang family invited us here. Zhao Xueqing said angrily with a frosty expression. Keep making it up. Get the hell out of here. Zhou Xianya's face was full of disdain. She quickly rushed up and was about to pull Zhao Xueqing away to humiliate her. Seeing Zhou Xianya baring her fangs and brandishing her claws, Jiang Tian shouted in a low voice, Old ghost. Master, I'm here. Ghost kick shot out like an arrow and blocked Zhou Xianya in an instant. This old man purposely showed off his martial arts skills in front of Zhao Xueqing. He used the 12 ways 10 kicks and kicked Zhou Xianya 3 times consecutively. Whoosh! Zhou Xianya fell out like a kite with a broken string. She lay on the ground like a dead dog. She was in so much pain that her face was pale and covered in dirt. She couldn't get up for a long time. Aya, old ghost, you're so good at fighting. Zhao Xueqing's beautiful eyes widened as she exclaimed. This scene was like a stunt in an action movie. It was elegant and full of rhythm and beauty. Most importantly, he was an old man in his 50s. How could he fight so beautifully? Hee, how can this old servant's skills compare to master's? I've embarrassed myself in front of mistress. Ghost Kick bowed deeply. He sounded apologetic, but his eyes were full of pride. He was no longer the same as before. He was Master Kang's lackey. If he didn't beat him up beautifully, wouldn't he be embarrassing Master Kang? Cough cough, isn't hubby more handsome when he beats people up? Jiang Tian touched his nose and smiled bitterly. However, he was very pleased in his heart. It seemed that Xueqing wasn't so inflexible. She would gradually accept the existence of martial arts. Damn old man, how dare you hit my girlfriend? Seeing his girlfriend being beaten so miserably, Li Buokai's eyes turned red. He rushed forward and threw a punch at Ghost Kick. In his rage, Li Buokai used all his strength in this punch. The fist tore the air apart and whistled crazily. If it hit a piece of granite, cracks would appear. An old man will definitely beat Li Buokai to death, right? Zhou Xianya climbed up. Seeing this scene, she couldn't help but sneer. She cursed in her heart. This old man should be Jiang Tian's follower. Evil master and evil servant. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. In short, he's not a good person. It's good that he's dead. This kid has some martial arts. Initial success in inner force? Ghost Kick sneered. With his hands behind his back, he kicked Li Buokai's chest like lightning. Whoosh! Li Buokai flew out and landed on Zhou Xianya's butt on the ground. The two of them suddenly screamed. So scary. Is this old man a god? Zhou Xianya was stunned. Her face was full of disbelief. Li Buokai was so powerful. So many rich people respected him like a god. However, at this moment, he was not even a match for this old man. Li Buokai covered his chest and climbed up. He pointed at Ghost Kick and said angrily, "Old man, you're dead. I'll ask my father to kill you later. My father is Li Jinwei." When Ghost Kick heard this, he was also stunned. Damn, isn't this nephew Li Buokai? The last time he saw Li Buokai was 10 years ago. He was just a little kid. It was normal that they didn't recognize each other. Since the other party was the son of an old friend, he should give him some face. However, the person he offended was Master Kang. Master Kang was like a god descending from the heavens. Who would dare to disobey his majesty? As his mind raced, Ghost Kick coldly snorted with a face full of arrogance. Arrogant and ignorant kid. Even if your father was here, he would have to kneel and kowtow to Master Kang. You dare to hit Master Kang? Do you want to die? What Grandmaster Jiang? Where is Grandmaster Jiang? Li Buokai's face was full of confusion. Zhou Xianya was angry. She didn't care so much. She pointed at Jiang Tian and the other two and shouted like a shrew. Jiang Tian, you dare to let him hit me? You're going to die. My father will immediately meet Grandmaster Jiang and present him with a generous gift. Jiang Tian, I will let Master Kang kill you and cut you into pieces. Is that so? Then you can try. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold. You still want to hire someone to kill me? However, you don't know that the Master Kang you want to invite is me, Jiang Tian. This is so funny. She invited Jiang Tian. What is she thinking? Zhao Xueqing suddenly felt that it was very funny. She covered her mouth with her hand and laughed out loud. Master Kong, Tang Guizhu, and Tang Wanyin Tang Linglong are here to greet you. Master Kong, Zhen Guangsha and his niece Zhengli are here to greet you. Master Kong, Long Wu, and Zhou Zhenghao's beloved son Long Gadian are here to greet you. Master Kong, Li Zhenwei, and his beloved son Li Bukai are here to greet you. Master Kong, Chairman Li of Huanhai Real Estate Group is here to greet you. Chairman Zhao of Huanhai Real Estate Group is here to greet you. Vice Chairman Liu of Huanyu Pharmaceutical Group is here to greet you. Chairman Wang, the founder of Tianhe Entertainment Group is here to greet you. At this time, a steward of the Tang family quickly walked in small steps, leading the way in front. He spoke quickly, and his voice was like a large bell. A large group of people walked into the Moon Gate, the end of which could not be seen at a glance. Li Bukai quickly pulled Zhou Xianya and rushed to Li Zhenwei. He asked anxiously, "Dad, where is Master Kong?" "Shut up. Do you have the right to speak here? Do things according to my mood." Li Zhenwei looked straight ahead and stared at Jiang Tian in front of him with reverence. He didn't dare to breathe. He was submerged in the crowd and followed Tang Guizhu to Jiang Tian. Zhou Xianya quickly combed her messy hair and wiped the dust off her face. Her heart tightened. She was so excited that she couldn't breathe. She looked at the people in front of her with a shocked face. Tang Guizhu, Long Wu, Zhou Zhenghao, Zhen Guangsha, each and every one of them was like a shining star. Usually, these big shots could only be seen in the news. Even Tang Weiman, the secretary of the municipal party committee, didn't have the ability to gather them together. But now, they all appeared together. All of this was for the sake of meeting Grandmaster Jiang. This Grandmaster Jiang was really too amazing. But, where is Master Kong? Zhou Xianya looked around. She didn't see the legendary 60 years old, sage-like old man. Master Kong, you've worked hard. This old man is here to cheer for you. I wish you all the best. Tang Guizhu walked to Jiang Tian and shook Jiang Tian's big hand. He smiled warmly. "Ha, Elder Tang, it's just a small matter. You didn't have to come personally." How embarrassing. In Great Linzhou, Jiang Tian only had Elder Tang in his eyes, so he smiled modestly. Junior Li Zhenwei greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang. Junior Long Wu greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang. Junior Zhen Guangsha greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang. Junior Tang Linglong greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang. Many famous martial arts giants of the Lin Zhou Society walked up to Jiang Tian one after another. They lowered their noble heads, bowed deeply, and clasped their fists to salute him as if they were seeing a god. No matter how old they were, how high their cultivation was, or how much money they had, when they saw Jiang Tian, they were all as respectful as a child seeing a teacher. On the other hand, Tang Linglong, Zhengli, and several other socialites with hundreds of millions of assets surrounded Zhao Xueqing like stars surrounding the moon. Their faces were full of flattery. Junior Li of Huanhai Real Estate greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang. Junior Liu of Huanyu Pharmaceutical greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang. Junior He of Tianhe Entertainment greets Master Kong and Madame Jiang, a group of tycoons, who could easily influence the lives of tens of thousands of people in Lin Zhou City, swarmed out and bowed deeply to Jiang Tian, just like Li Zhenwei and the others. They cupped their fists and bowed deeply to Jiang Tian. Before Jiang Tian spoke, no one dared to straighten their backs. What? Seeing this scene, Zhou Xianya and Li Zhenwei couldn't believe it. Cold sweat poured down their faces. Chapter 64. Jiang Tian is Master Kong. Zhou Xianya shrieked in horror as if she had been caught off guard. All the hair on her body stood on end as she couldn't believe what she had just heard. Those powerhouses that she could only look up to were now so respectful to Jiang Tian, as if they were believers seeing a god. He is Master Kong. Li Bukai's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. His face was filled with confusion, then shock, and finally horror. His father had repeatedly reminded him not to get into a conflict with Master Kong, but today, he actually made a move against him. Who would have thought that this ordinary-looking young man was the kind of powerhouse who could walk on water, hurt people from a distance, control thunder and lightning, and slay demons with one hand? He wanted to cry, but no tears came out. His legs went weak and he almost collapsed to the ground. He looked at Zhou Xianya with hatred, helplessness, and despair. Xianya, you killed me. Isn't he the trash who went on a blind date with me? How could he be so strong? Zhou Xianya was also shocked. She couldn't believe everything in front of her was so illusory and unreal. She couldn't help but feel a strong sense of regret in her heart. It was too late for regrets. Once, she was arrogant and abandoned Jiang Tian. But now, she realized that Jiang Tian was as unattainable as the stars in the sky. She thought that if she could marry Li Bukai, her status would rise and Jiang Tian could only look up to her. But now she realized that when Li Bukai was compared to Jiang Tian, he was like a firefly that had met the sun. He was instantly overshadowed. Once, she thought that Zhao Xueqing's choice of Jiang Tian was a stupid move that destroyed her own future. But now, she realized that Zhao Xueqing was the smartest and wisest person. She envied her and wanted to replace her. You went on a blind date? Hearing this, Li Bukai was so scared that his legs cramped and he almost peed. Get up. Jiang Tian said calmly as he looked around at the crowd. Thank you, Master Kong. Only then did the experts dare to straighten their backs and look at Jiang Tian with trepidation. However, some rich people were also suspicious in their hearts. Such an ordinary-looking young man was actually a martial Dao master. How could he make Long Wu, Zhen Guangxia, and Tang Wannian, these three powerhouses, bow their heads? At this moment, Li Zhenwei mustered up his courage and said, Master Kong, I have a presumptuous request. I would like to introduce my son to you. As he spoke, he turned his head and shouted angrily, Bo Kai, why are you hiding in the back? When you see Master Kong, hurry up and kowtow. Junior greets Master Kong. Li Bukai was horrified, but in the end, he still stepped forward like a quail and knelt on the ground, not daring to breathe. He actually knelt down in front of Jiang Tian. Zhou Xianya laughed like a fool, her eyes crazy. At this moment, she felt that she was a big joke. Once, she despised Jiang Tian as an ant, a toad who wanted to eat swan meat. After Jiang Tian beat up her brother, she wanted to kill Jiang Tian, repeatedly offending and provoking him. Today, when she saw Li Bukai, she hoped that Master Kong could uphold justice and let her and Li Bukai complete the marriage. But only now did she realize that the Grandmaster Jiang they worshipped like a god and treated as a life-saving straw was actually Jiang Tian. Master Kong, this is my son Li Bukai. He has always admired you. Master Kong, please teach him a thing or two in the future. Li Zhenwei introduced with a pleading face, then raised his hand and pointed to Zhou Chenghui, who was pale, and smiled. This is Zhou Chenghui, who is in the medicine trade. He has quite a lot of assets. He also found a dragon grass and wants to offer it to Master Kong. How should he introduce Zhou Xianya? Although she was quite beautiful, she was not good enough for his son. He thought to himself, I'll just say that she's Zhou Chenghui's daughter and don't involve the Li family. Just as he was about to speak, Jiang Tian smiled faintly and said, Oh, I recognize them. She's your son's girlfriend. He had seen the two of them cuddling in the garden, so he pointed it out for them. Yes. She's my son's girlfriend. Jiang Tian was like a god in heaven, and his words were law. Li Zhenwei did not dare to defy him and immediately nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. He turned to look at Zhou Xianya and said with a loving face, "Since Master Kang has approved, you are the daughter-in-law of the Li family. The two families will hold an engagement ceremony and finalize your marriage. This is Master Kang's approval. What an honor it is." However, Li Buokai's heart suddenly turned cold. He collapsed on the ground like a dead dog and said with a trembling voice, "Master Kang, I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare. I was wrong, I was ignorant. Who would dare to marry a woman who had been on a blind date with Jiang Tian and then abandoned Jiang Tian? She was a jinx." Seeing Jiang Tian dominate the scene and attract the attention of everyone, Zhou Xianya was filled with regret. She remembered Jiang Tian's humble and even fawning smile when they were on a blind date more than a year ago. However, she did not cherish it and completely missed it. Then she heard Li Jinwei's words, which were more disgusting than eating a fly. Li Jinwei was arrogant and spoke bluntly to her, but just because of Jiang Tian's words, he agreed to her marriage with Li Buokai. How much did he fear Jiang Tian to have such a 180-degree change in his attitude? However, at this time, Li Buokai suddenly collapsed on the ground and rejected the marriage. This made her feel even more complicated and uncomfortable. Seeing this, Li Jinwei was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. He said with a trembling voice, Did you offend Master Kang?" I don't know Master Kang, I fought with him. But Zhou Xianya instigated me." Li Buokai was so scared that tears fell like rain. Kai actually fought with Master Kang. Is he crazy? Is this wretched girl trying to kill Li Buokai? Who is she? Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. Bastard! Li Jinwei was furious. He stepped on Li Buokai again and shouted, "I told you more than once that when you see Master Kang, you have to treat him like your great-grandfather. How can you do this? Do you want to kill me?" He stepped on Li Buokai until he screamed. After venting his anger, he cupped his fists and said respectfully, "Master Kang, my son doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth and has offended you. If you want to kill him or cut him up, this disciple will not hesitate. If I wanted to kill him, he would already be a corpse." Jiang Tian's eyes were full of contempt and said lightly, "Master Kang, I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai and have offended you." Zhou Qinghui could no longer suppress the fear in his heart. He knelt on the ground and raised the gift box above his head with both hands. He lowered his noble head and said in a trembling voice, "This ambergris grass is for Master Kang. I only beg Master Kang to spare me this time. Have you forgotten? I said that even if you kneel and beg me, I won't accept it." Jiang Tian was too lazy to look at him. He was enjoying the flowers and plants in the back garden and smiled faintly. Zhou Qinghui's body stiffened. He was so scared that his face turned ashen. He broke out in a cold sweat and his body trembled. His clothes were soon soaked by big drops of sweat. "Grandmaster Jiang, this lowly one had eyes but failed to see before. Please be magnanimous and forgive me this once." Tears and mucus flowed down his face. He kowtowed like he was pounding garlic and begged, "I am willing to be Master Kang's lackey. I am loyal and devoted. If you have any orders, I will obey without hesitation." "Dad," seeing her grizzled father kneeling and kowtowing to Jiang Tian, Zhou Xianya felt as if her heart was being cut by a knife. She let out a sad cry and her delicate body swayed. Tears fell like rain. In her mind, her father was a man of indomitable spirit. He was good at plotting and scheming in the business world and was not afraid at all. But at this moment, he had disregarded his dignity and kowtowed to Jiang Tian in public, begging to be his lackey. She was afraid that he would never be able to hold his head up high again. "I am in trouble. I have ruined my dad's dignity and also harmed myself." Zhou Xianya's eyes were filled with shock, despair, and regret. She could not even stand steadily and murmured to herself in a daze. However, she was wrong. Zhou Qinghui was not even qualified to be Jiang Tian's lackey. "You are just an ant. How can you be a lackey? Ha, your daughter said that you are going to hire a master to kill me. I don't dare to be a lackey like you. Jiang Tian smiled disdainfully. He took Zhao Xueqing's hand and walked forward. He said in an incomparably gentle voice, "Let's go, Qing'er. Let's go to the open sea to see the seagulls. Are you a martial arts master? Have you reached the transcendent state? Do you also want to be Master Kang's lackey? Do you deserve it?" Ghost Kick smiled disdainfully, kicked Zhou Qinghui and sent him sprawling on the ground, then followed Jiang Tian. Dad, it's really not my fault. It's all Zhou Xianya's instigation. How dare I disrespect Master Kang, Dad, you must make it clear to Master Kang. I don't want to die. Li Bukai pulled Li Junwei and begged bitterly. Also, I can't marry her. She is a jinx. She will kill us. Of course. Li Junwei's face was full of sorrow. He chased after Jiang Tian's footsteps and lamented, "Alas, I have already said that this woman's vision is too shallow. She is not a good match. You didn't listen to me. Now you are in big trouble. How can I make Master Kang forgive you now?" Yeah, I didn't expect her to be so stupid as to offend Master Kang. She is digging her own grave. What a jinx. Li Bukai had completely given up on Zhou Xianya. After Jiang Tian left. "Zhou Qinghui, you still want to harm Master Kang? How dare you? I will be the first one to punish you." Zhou Zhenghao pointed at Zhou Qinghui, gritted his teeth, and sneered like a fiend. Alas, you are so blind. You want to curry favor with Master Kang, but you don't even know who he is. Zhen Guangsha shook his head and sighed. Third Lord, what do you think we should do? Should we kill him or cripple him and expel him from Linzhou? Dragon Fifth rubbed his chin, his eyes flashing with a cold light as he discussed with Tang Wanyan. How can we let him live happily after offending Master Kang? Tang Wanyan snorted with a pale face. Spare my worthless life. I don't want to die. Zhou Qinghui's face was pale as cold sweat poured down like rain. He trembled like a sieve. These were all people he could not afford to offend. Any one of them could crush him like an ant, let alone so many of them. The father and son of the Li family didn't even look at her. When she saw her father kneeling on the ground, she was so scared that she almost peed her pants. She had become the target of all the tycoons in Linzhou City. Oh my God! What should I do? Zhou Xianya's tears fell like rain. She felt dizzy and fell to the ground. Chapter 65. During the lunch banquet, Jiang Tian and Elder Tang drank and chatted merrily. After accepting some congratulatory gifts, they set off for the international waters in the afternoon. Master Kang, it's a pity that I won't be able to personally witness Master Kang's might this time. However, Elder Tang was once a member of the government, and his identity was sensitive. Thus, he couldn't personally attend the banquet. Grandpa, I want to go. Tang Linglong looked at Jiang Tian in admiration and begged Elder Tang. It's not appropriate for you to go. Your identity is too sensitive. Elder Tang refused, and Tang Linglong felt anxious and helpless. Subsequently, Elder Tang personally sent Jiang Tian to the door and cupped his fists. Master Kang, I wish you victory in victory. Thank you, Elder Tang. Jiang Tian smiled and left Crouching Dragon Villa with everyone. They boarded a speedboat at the pier and drove out 12 nautical miles. Soon, a majestic cruise ship appeared in the international waters. After showing the invitation and boarding the cruise ship, Zhao Xueqing was instantly stunned by the beautiful scenery before her eyes. The blue sea stretched as far as the eye could see. There were no clouds in the clear sky, and seagulls were chirping happily as they flew past. The cool sea breeze made her dress flutter. She felt refreshed and couldn't help but exclaim, "Hubby, this place is so beautiful." Jiang Tian nodded. He looked around and said with a smile, I came here for 2 reasons. First, to spar. Second, to spend a vacation with Qing'er. Do you understand? Everyone looked at each other and nodded. Master Kong, don't worry. We won't disturb you. Zhengli, accompany Master Kong. The rich and powerful people from Linzhou city dispersed, leaving only Zhengli to accompany Jiang Tian and his wife. On the cruise ship, there were too many rich and powerful people from Linzhou city who wanted to meet Master Kong. It would be too eye-catching if a tycoon like Tang Wanyan accompanied him. Zhengli was only in the middle management of the Guangxia group. Not many people knew her, and she was also Jiang Tian's university classmate, so it was convenient for them to get along. Holding hands with Zhao Xueqing, Jiang Tian strolled on the deck and enjoyed the enchanting seascape. He was also very happy and satisfied. For tens of thousands of years, wasn't what he yearned for the rest of his life with Zhao Xueqing? Since his rebirth, nothing was more important to Jiang Tian than Zhao Xueqing. Power, money, and status were all easily obtainable. In Jiang Tian's mind, how could they compare to Zhao Xueqing's smile? This ship belongs to the richest man in the Eastern Sea, Yi Gufeng. He controls it through an overseas offshore company. Zhengli explained like a dutiful tour guide, the Blue Whale Princess is a luxurious cruise ship with a cargo capacity of 100,000 tons. It can carry 3,000 passengers. It has 101 luxurious cabins, 12 luxurious restaurants, 3 luxurious casinos, and a banquet hall with an area of more than 2,000 square meters. It's the best in Southeast Asia. Even the Queen of England sat there. Many large-scale events in Jiangbei like to be held here. It's not a bad place. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. On the deck, there was an open-air swimming pool, a huge digital screen, a small golf course, and various barbecue stalls. Tourists could enjoy as much as they wanted without paying. This tournament is not only for the big shots to settle their disputes, it's also a grand event for Lingnan's martial arts and cultivation world. Zhengli was slightly moved and said, so, there will be many strange people who want to make a name for themselves participating. It's an unprecedented grand event. The cheapest entry ticket is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. As expected, there are many experts. Jiang Tian raised his eyebrows and activated his divine eye to scan the surroundings. Among the hundreds of heroes on the deck, there were 5 to 6 experts in the early phase of Iron Body. Xiao Tian, why are you here? And Xueqing. Suddenly, a surprised voice called out to him. Sister Weiwei, you're here too. Jiang Tian turned around, and his eyes were filled with tears. A woman in her late 20s, wearing a business suit and black high heels, walked over quickly. The woman was tall and slender with exquisite curves. She had a fair oval face and bright red lips that were as translucent as strawberries. Her makeup was exquisite and mature, and her fine black hair was tied up in a bun with a jasper hairpin. A pair of rimless glasses sat on her tall nose bridge. Her eyes were bright, and she exuded a kind of intellectual and elegant beauty. Jiang Tian, we haven't seen each other for 3 years. Yi Ziwei opened her arms and hugged Jiang Tian tightly. Her tears fell like rain. Sister. Why are you crying? Aren't I fine? Jiang Tian smiled and patted her shoulder. Yi Ziwei was an orphan. Her mother and Jiang Tian's birth mother, Zhang Wanqing, were university classmates. After Mother Yi divorced, she raised Yi Ziwei alone. Later, Mother Yi passed away due to illness, and Yi Ziwei was adopted by Zhang Wanqing. She was carefully nurtured and graduated from a famous school. Now, she was in the middle management of the Jiang family's Medicine King group. Since young, Yi Ziwei had always taken care of her like a sister. After Jiang Tian was expelled from university, Yi Ziwei spent all her salary to help Jiang Tian. In her previous life, when the Jiang family was in danger, she fought side by side with her mother until the last moment, until they were hit by a car on the highway. That's right. You look more mature and sturdier. Yi Ziwei wiped her tears and pulled Zhao Xueqing affectionately. Qing'er, Jiang Tian didn't cause any trouble for you, right? If he messes around, tell me and I'll spank his butt for you. Sister, I'm all grown up. Don't talk about me like that. Jiang Tian shook his head helplessly. He was a Taichu celestial lord who had returned after 10,000 years of cultivation, but he was always threatened and spanked. That won't do. Jiang Tian is my husband. Only I can spank his butt. Zhao Xueqing said seriously. Yi Ziwei was slightly taken aback. Then, she covered her mouth and giggled, yes, yes, yes. Qing'er is right. If he wants to mess around, I'm on your side. Sister Weiwei, what are you doing here? Jiang Tian felt that something was wrong and frowned slightly. Yi Ziwei hesitated for a moment before saying, I want to meet some business friends. Master Feng is here. Who? Master Feng, the richest man in Donghai. Master Feng. And Scarface Kun. Suddenly, there was an earth-shattering cheer on the deck. Many people spread out to form a path. There were even some people of status who came forward to greet them warmly. A group of powerful men with extraordinary auras walked over quickly. They were wearing black suits and black trousers, air headsets, and super black sunglasses. Their waists were bulging as if they were stuffed with something hard. The man in the middle was the tycoon of Donghai, Yi Gufeng. He was about 50 years old. He was wearing a white shirt, black trousers, and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. His hair was clean and his temperament was elegant, just like a famous university professor. Behind him was a middle-aged man with a scar on his face. His long hair reached his shoulders and he was tall and strong. His eyes were fierce and his temperament was ruthless. He was the most ruthless man in Donghai, Scarface Kun Luzikuan. Yi Gufeng's dignified gaze swept across the entire place. He smiled and nodded at them in greeting. Master Feng is here. Greetings, Master Feng. Even Tang Wanyan, Dragon 5th, Zhen Guangsha and the others came out of their cabins and greeted Yi Gufeng respectfully. High society was like this. Even if they were at each other's throats, they still maintained superficial etiquette. He, 3rd Master, 5th Master, Elder Zheng, you are very courageous this year. You actually came to participate in the Open Sea Challenge tournament. I am very pleased. Yi Gufeng shook hands with them one by one. His powerful aura could completely suppress the three of them. After greeting everyone, his gaze suddenly fell on Yi Ziwei, Jiang Tian, and Zhao Xueqing. He frowned. Ziwei, come with me. Yi Gufeng walked over slowly and smiled gently at Yi Ziwei. As for Jiang Tian, he completely ignored him. He was like a cloud of dirty air. Okay. Yi Ziwei nodded and turned to Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian, don't run around and don't cause trouble. I will come to you at night. How does Sister Ziwei know Yi Gufeng? Zhao Xueqing's face was full of shock and disbelief. I understand. Jiang Tian's gaze was deep as he let out a long sigh. According to his mother, Yi Ziwei's father was from Donghai. After having Yi Ziwei, he divorced Yi Ziwei's mother and married the daughter of an old leader of the Lingnan Provincial Party Committee. In his previous life, Yi Ziwei's father had made great achievements and wanted to reunite with Yi Ziwei. He begged and pleaded, but Yi Ziwei hated him for abandoning his wife and daughter and refused to acknowledge him. It seemed that Yi Ziwei's father was Yi Gufeng. Now that the Jiang family was in danger, Yi Ziwei had no choice but to beg Yi Gufeng for the survival of the Medicine King group. Inside a luxurious cabin, Yi Gufeng sat on a large leather sofa and said with a loving smile, Ziwei, I have mistreated you and your mother all these years. You have always felt guilty and I hope I can make it up to you. If there is anything you need my help with, just let me know. As long as it is within my power. Mr. Yi, this time I am speaking to you on behalf of the Jiang family and the Medicine King group. Yi Ziwei was holding a cup of fragrant tea, but she was not in the mood to taste it. She lowered her head and said, "The Medicine King Group is facing a huge crisis. A few of our popular products are under attack. Our business is in trouble and our capital chain is in danger. The Medicine King Group hopes to borrow 500 million from the Hainan Airlines Group. The interest rate is based on the market interest rate. 500 million is not a big sum." Yi Gufeng nodded and said, "But if you want me to agree, you have to agree to one condition." "What?" "You have to leave the Jiang family immediately and cut off all ties with them." Yi Gufeng said seriously. "Mr. Yi, no." Yi Ziwei said resolutely, "Jiang Zhixing and Zhang Wanqing raised me. I can't leave them when the Medicine King Group is in danger. Wei Wei, if you think of the Jiang family's crisis as a normal business war, then it is too simple." Yi Gufeng's wise eyes flickered as he said in a deep voice, "There's still a powerful force hiding behind the three great clans of Jinling City. It is a force that even I cannot afford to offend." "Who is it?" Yi Ziwei was shocked. "I haven't found out yet. But even if I do, it will be useless." Yi Gufeng said, "Even if I lend the Jiang family 20 billion, it will not change their fate." Yi Gufeng said sincerely, "A gentleman does not stand under a collapsing wall. If you continue to stay in the Jiang family, you will sink with the Jiang family, and your life will be in danger." Yi Ziwei's face changed dramatically. What kind of force could completely destroy the Jiang family and command the three major families of Jinling? Yi Gufeng said sincerely, "Is it not good to be alive? Why do you want to die? I am almost 50. It is time for me to retire. If you come back, the Hainan Airlines Group's 80 billion assets will be under your control. Isn't that great? Mr. Yi, I am sorry. I cannot leave my foster parents. I want to repay them for raising me." Yi Ziwei was unmoved. "Repay them? Don't lie to yourself." Yi Gufeng was so angry that his hands trembled. He said angrily, "I know you are doing this for Jiang Tian." Chapter 66. Don't talk nonsense. Humph. Before your mother passed away, she entrusted Jiang Tian to Jiang Tian's mother, Zhang Wanqing. Yi Gufeng saw through everything and said, "After Jiang Tian's marriage with Yan Jing fell through, Zhang Wanqing wanted the two of you to get engaged. Your relationship with Jiang Tian is not as simple as a sibling relationship, but a man and a woman. Of course, you agreed to it. Who knew that Jiang Tian's grandfather, Jiang Tian, chased Jiang Tian out of the family in order to protect him? He did not approve of your marriage and let him marry Zhao Xueqing." Yi Ziwei's face was red, and she was speechless. "Ziwei, Jiang Tian is married now. What's the point of your relationship?" Yi Gufeng eased his tone and said, "Besides, he's incompetent and has achieved nothing. He's not a good match." "Mr. Yi, maybe you think I'm stupid and childish." Yi Ziwei's eyes were slightly red, and tears were glistening in her eyes. She said in a trembling voice, "But when my mother passed away and I was hungry for 3 days and 3 nights, it was Jiang Tian who bought me meat buns and let me eat my first meal. When I was bullied at school, it was Jiang Tian who fought for me with a brick. When I had my first period, it was so painful that I rolled on the ground. It was Jiang Tian who bought me pads and menstrual cramps. When I broke Grandpa Jiang's precious antique and the Jiang family wanted to kick me out of the family, it was Jiang Tian who knelt in the snow and begged Grandpa Jiang to let me stay. He knelt and did not eat or drink for a day and a night." Suddenly, she raised her head and stared at Yi Gufeng with incomparable determination. She asked in a cold voice, "Mr. Yi, may I ask, when all this happened, where was your biological father?" Yi Gufeng looked away and sighed helplessly. "Ziwei, I know that I've wronged you and your mother, but that's two different things. It doesn't matter if it's sibling love or the love between a man and a woman." Yi Ziwei stood up and said in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing, in short, I will protect Jiang Tian and the Jiang family for the rest of my life. I will not rest until I die. She walked out with her head held high and her chest puffed out. This Jiang Tian is a good-for-nothing, and he ruined my daughter. Ye Gufeng was dumbstruck, and his face flushed red from extreme rage. Smack! He picked up an antique porcelain vase worth millions of yuan and smashed it. Master Feng, if you think that Jiang is an eyesore, I'll find a few guys with shotguns and get rid of him. Lu Zikuan, the big boss of East Sea, said fiercely on the sofa with a twisted face. In his mouth, killing a person's estes, even est kill t killed kill. T. Ye Gufeng pondered for a moment, then waved his hand and sneered. Jiang Tian is just a good-for-nothing. Ziwei is just a good-for-nothing. She'll understand everything when she grows up. Call Jiang Tian over tonight. I want to talk to him. The challenge tournament had not started yet. Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing, and Zheng Li were eating barbecue on the deck and basking in the sun. In the evening, Yi Ziwei walked over. Jiang Tian smiled and said, Sister Weiwei, have a seat. Have something to eat. Yi Ziwei pulled a chair and sat down. Her eyes were red and she did not seem to have any appetite. Jiang Tian asked, What does Mr. Yi want from you? Nothing, just some business matters. Yi Ziwei shook her head absent-mindedly and did not explain further. Is the Jiang family facing financial difficulties? Jiang Tian suddenly asked in a deep voice. No. Everything is fine. Yi Ziwei denied. She took out a bank card and pushed it to Jiang Tian. She smiled and said, Xueqing, Jiang Tian, here's 500,000. Take it and spend it. Jiang Tian was slightly moved, and his eyes were filled with tenderness and gratitude. This was probably all of her savings. The Jiang family was not doing well. She should be nervous, but she still cared about him. Sister Weiwei, I don't need it. You can keep it. Jiang Tian pushed the bank card back. Why? Yi Ziwei was very surprised. Jiang Tian had never rejected anyone who came to him. Jiang Tian just shook his head. She advised, Jiang Tian, I know you spend money like a spendthrift. You must be short of money. Take it. Don't make me and Mom and Dad worry about you. Sister Weiwei, don't worry. If I want money, I can get it easily. Jiang Tian held her hand and said firmly. What did you say? Yi Ziwei was in disbelief when she felt Jiang Tian's domineering aura. I know that the Jiang family must be in trouble now. You are asking Mr. Yi for help, right? Sister Weiwei, don't worry. I will revive the Jiang family. The three major families in Jinlin City are just ants. I can kill them with a snap of my fingers. Jiang Tian's eyes were filled with pride as he said in a deep voice, I will not let you suffer in the future. You will be in control of your own destiny. Yi Gufeng will not make you bow to him. Jiang Tian, thank you. Although Yi Ziwei did not know why Jiang Tian was so confident, she was still touched. After taking a sip of juice, Yi Ziwei said worriedly, Jiang Tian, when the competition starts tonight, you and Qing'er can come out and watch, but you must not fight. If you want to bet, you can only bet less than 100,000. Don't play if you lose all of it. Hee, Sister Wei, Jiang Tian is a contestant in Linzhou. Zhao Xueqing said with a smile. What? Jiang Tian is going to fight? Qing'er, you are so sensible. How can you let him do whatever he wants? Yi Ziwei was surprised. She grabbed Jiang Tian's ear and shouted, If you dare to fight, I will tell Mom and Dad. Do you understand? Sister Wei, let me go. I know I was wrong. I won't fight. Jiang Tian raised his hand and begged for mercy. After thousands of years of cultivation, he finally reached the pinnacle of the universe. He dominated the starry sky for billions of light years and destroyed countless great demons and old devils. The Saint King and Divine Son bowed down and worshipped him. Now, Yi Ziwei was pulling his ear. However, Jiang Tian felt warm in his heart. When he was young, Yi Ziwei often pulled his ears like this when he was naughty and made mistakes. The four of them were chatting when suddenly, a sarcastic voice sounded. "Oh, isn't this Jiang Tian? How did you get here?" Jiang Tian looked back and was slightly taken aback. He said coldly, "Who are you? Why are you always hanging around me? You don't recognize me." Lu Biao was speechless and was about to explode. "Didn't we just meet at the 4S shop? How can you not remember me? Why should I know you?" Jiang Tian was baffled. Is there something wrong with this girl's head? Jiang Tian, how can a lunatic like you be qualified to enter such a high-end place? You must have snuck in. If you dare to talk to me like that again, I will ask someone to kick you out. Lu Biao was so angry that her delicate body could not help but tremble. She threatened. After buying the car, she thought that Fu Longjuan's words were very reasonable. Jiang Tian must be puffing himself up at his own cost. The ticket to the international arena was worth hundreds of thousands, and only the rich with hundreds of millions of assets could participate. How could Jiang Tian be qualified to enter? Get out! Jiang Tian's eyes were cold as he frowned and shouted. He was chatting with Sister Weiwei and Qing'er. Where did this lunatic come from and disturb him? Humph, moron, I don't want to lower myself to your level. Lu Biao was shocked by Jiang Tian. She sneered and followed a tall and extraordinary young man in high heels. He was wearing a Portuguese watch, and the handmade trousers and shirt of an old Italian tailor showed his good taste. However, his pale face and feminine temperament made him look unpleasant. "Biao, is that your friend?" The young man smiled and looked at Jiang Tian. "What friend?" Lu Biao hugged the young man's arm and said disdainfully, "He is just a member of a poor family. I don't know how he got here." "Oh," Xue Feiyang nodded. He glanced at Zhao Xueqing and Yi Ziwei and was impressed. This young man had an ordinary appearance, but the girls around him were all stunning beauties. "Don't mind them. Can you take me to the banquet? Can I see Lord Feng?" Lu Biao asked with a fawning face. This time, she was there to meet Yi Gufeng on behalf of the Lu family. Jiang Tian was going to participate in the arena under the name of Kang Teichu. Although many tycoons in Linzhou supported him, there were others who disagreed with him. From the Lu family's point of view, Yi Gufeng was too powerful. He dominated two major cities in Jiangzhou and had many powerful fighters under his command. This time, Yi Gufeng was going to rule Jiangbei, so the Lu family wanted to establish a good relationship with him. "My father is second only to Lord Feng and brother Kuan in the three cities of Jiangbei. Lu Zikuan's son Lu Jinrong is my brother." Xue Feiyang cracked a smile and walked toward the banquet hall. His father, Xue Mingyi, used to rule Jiangzhou. He was recruited by Yi Gufeng 3 years ago and ranked among the top 10 in Yi Gufeng's faction. With his father's help, Xue Feiyang was able to compete with Tang Jianfeng and Lu Wangfeng in Jiangbei. "Wow, I didn't expect your father to be so powerful," Lu Biao said with a fawning smile. "Hee, I drank too much tonight. You have to take care of me." Feeling the soft and warm sensation on his arm, Xue Feiyang's heart was aroused. He tapped her nose and said, Okay, isn't it my responsibility to take care of you and serve you?" Lu Biao, who was as arrogant as a queen in front of Jiang Tian, was now as obedient as a kitten. She blushed and said. In her opinion, Fan Tao, Jiang Tian, and Xue Feiyang were nothing compared to them. Her father, Xue Mingyi, was worth tens of billions and controlled a dozen 5-star hotels. He was someone who was on the same level as Tang Wanyan. Yao Yao is such a good girl. Xue Feiyang smiled, but there was a trace of disdain in his eyes. After Fu Lanjun introduced the two, Lu Biao immediately became passionate and tried to curry favor with Chen Fan. But in his opinion, the Lu family was not even in the top 20 in Linzhou. How could she be qualified to be his girlfriend? Of course, if Lu Jinrong could take a fancy to her, that would be the best. Anyway, she was not short of women, and there were many women like her. After Xue Feiyang and Fan Tao entered the banquet hall, a figure rushed toward them but was stopped by a few bodyguards. "Sir, you can't go in." "Why can't I?" Fan Tao was unconvinced. "You have a cruise ticket, but the banquet hall requires an invitation." "I'm sorry, you are not qualified," the bodyguard said. "Biao, come out," Fan Tao anxiously shouted. "Fan Tao, why are you following me? We have already broken up." Lu Biao looked back and saw Fan Tao. She was embarrassed. Xue Feiyang asked, "Who is he?" Lu Biao quickly put on an aggrieved look and frowned. "Feiyang, his name is Fan Tao. His father is a district chief in Linzhou. He is a section chief in the customs. He always chased me and harassed me, but I never agreed." "TSK, such a small fart dares to harass you." Xue Feiyang snorted in disdain and waved his hand to the bodyguard, "Throw him into the sea to feed the fish." Chapter 67. Yes. Young Master Xue. The bodyguards picked up Fan Tao, walked to the side of the boat, and threw him into the sea. "Will he be okay?" Lu Baiyao was stunned, and her admiration for Xue Feiyang grew. Fan Tao was a big shot in Linzhou, but in front of Xue Feiyang, he was just a small fish. "Let's scare him. We'll catch him when he's full of water." Xue Feiyang smiled evilly, and like a domineering CEO, he pulled Lu Baiyao into the banquet hall. As soon as she entered the banquet hall, Lu Baiyao was shocked. Her eyes were not enough to take in everything. The lights were bright, and there were many celebrities. The furnishings were extremely luxurious, and all of them were big shots. Any one of them had assets of around 1 billion. Xue Feiyang bowed respectfully to a young man surrounded by everyone. "Young Master Rong, I'm here." "Oh. Feiyang, you're here." The young man was called Lu Jinrong, Lu Zikuan's son. He was in charge of a real estate investment company with assets of 1 billion before the age of 30. He was famous in Donghai. At this time, he was holding a popular female celebrity called Yang Mi in one hand and shaking a glass of red wine in the other. He was chatting happily with many rich and famous people in Donghai and Jiangzhou. Seeing Xue Feiyang come in, she only nodded slightly. That slight movement was almost imperceptible, and she was extremely arrogant. Why does she look so similar to Zhao Xueqing? Lu Baiyao took a closer look at the female celebrity and was secretly surprised. "Young Master Rong, this is a friend I just met. Her name is Lu Baiyao, the daughter of Lu Haitao of Linzhou's Lu family. She wants to know you." Xue Feiyang nodded and bowed, and with a humble expression, he pushed Lu Baiyao out. Seeing this, Lu Baiyao was a little regretful. Xue Feiyang was not Lu Jinrong's brother like he said. He was clearly his lackey. But in front of Lu Jinrong, she did not dare to be negligent. She quickly bowed slightly and said, "My name is Lu Baiyao, the person in charge of a foreign trade company in Linzhou." "Greetings, young Master Rong." In front of this kind of second-generation heir, in terms of financial resources and background, she couldn't compare at all. If she said that she had an independent company, it wouldn't make her seem useless. "Oh, you started your own company?" Lu Jinrong's interest was finally piqued. He glanced at Lu Biao from head to toe. In terms of beauty, Lu Baiyao was not the best among the many beauties present. Even the young models he had played with were slightly better than her, let alone the big star in his arms. However, it was rumored that the Lu family was very strict. Even with Lu Jinrong's sharp eyes, he could see that the way she walked, talked, and dressed was not learned overnight. She must have received a good upbringing since she was young. Moreover, from her eyebrows and figure, she seemed to be a virgin. Even Lu Jinrong was a little tempted by a beautiful woman who was independent, talented in business, and had a good family background. I wonder how that bastard Xue Feiyang managed to find such a beauty, Lu Jinrong thought to himself. He smiled warmly and introduced Lu Baiyao to the rich people and bosses around them, asking them to take good care of her. Lu Baiyao was flattered. The rich people present were all extraordinary and had assets in the billions. They often appeared in the financial media and the Lu family was far inferior to them. Baiyao, if you want to cooperate with Jiang City, of course you can. However, I still have something to do. Why don't you come to my room tonight and talk? Suddenly, Lu Jinrong said with a gentle smile on his face. The hint in his words couldn't be clearer. Lu Baiyao was stunned and glanced at Xue Feiyang. To her surprise, Xue Feiyang said happily, Baiyao, this is such a precious opportunity. You must seize it. At this moment, Lu Baiyao had already confirmed that the famous young master Xue did not stand out in Lu Jinrong's circle at all. He was clearly a broker who pimped for Lu Jinrong and definitely did not have the right to talk to Yi Gufeng directly. I still have a few friends waiting for me. I'm afraid it's a little inconvenient. Lu Baiyao said apologetically. She had her own tricks and schemes. It was naturally better to be able to get close to Lu Jinrong than to Xue Feiyang. However, even if she wanted to get close to the strong, she couldn't give herself away too quickly. She had to bait the man. She deeply understood that if she made good use of a woman's first time, she could be exchanged for great returns. However, she suddenly realized that Lu Jinrong was looking at her calmly and smiling without saying a word. The tycoons just now also lost their enthusiasm, as if they would fall out with her if she dared to refuse. The female celebrity, Yang Mi, even sneered. Are you so pampered and noble? If you don't agree, don't you think about the consequences? What friend? Ask him to come over. Is he more important than young Master Rong? Chairman Hu questioned aggressively. Lu Baiyao broke out in cold sweat. She didn't expect to go for wool and come home shorn. If Yi Gufeng was in charge of Jiang Bei this time, Lu Jinrong would be even more terrifying. He was not someone the Lu family could afford to offend. As her mind raced, she glanced at Jiang Tian and the others who were chatting and laughing on the deck from the corner of her eyes. She suddenly had an idea and said with a smile, I'm really sorry, I came with Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing. I have to accompany them later. Of course, she wanted to be able to get close to Lu Jinrong, but she had to be his official girlfriend and marry into a rich family in the end. Today, she was like a third-rate model who was being cheated on by the unspoken rules. She could only end up being abandoned. Ha, Miss Lu, you probably don't know how precious an opportunity it is to be favored by young Master Rong. A middle-aged man with a thick cigar shook his head and said. He was called Chairman Hu and owned a high-end restaurant company with more than 10 branches all over Jiangzhou and Donghai. He even had a branch in Linzhou and was worth at least 1 billion yuan. Yeah, Biao, if you can become friends with young Master Rong, all of your friends in Jiang District and Donghai will be open to you, Xue Feiyang said patiently. Now, there are plenty of bosses in Linzhou who want to cooperate with young Master Rong. There are even people who would give him 100 million yuan of shares for free. Yang Mi also said with a disdainful snort. At this point, Lu Baiyao lowered her head and was a little tempted. He only needed one night to exchange for a ticket to join Yi Gufeng's camp from the Lu clan. If this Lu Jinrong still cared about their old friendship, he could even exchange it for more benefits. Who are you talking about? Zhao Xueqing. Where is she? Suddenly, Lu Jinrong asked anxiously with a dazed expression, as if he had lost his soul. Lu Baiyao was stunned. He knew Zhao Xueqing too. Meanwhile, Xue Feiyang had already stood up and pointed at Jiang Tian and the others outside the floor-to-ceiling window. Over there. Over there. Zhao Xueqing, Lu Jinrong stood up and looked at Zhao Xueqing on the deck with a greedy and scorching look in his eyes. Back then, he met Zhao Xueqing at a business exchange in Jiangbei and was stunned by her beauty. He even asked someone to propose marriage to the Zhao family. However, he did not expect Zhao Xueqing to reject him and marry a good-for-nothing with the surname Jiang not long after. Lu Jinrong looked for Yang Mi because he saw that she looked similar to Zhao Xueqing. However, her aura could not be compared to Zhao Xueqing at all. He still could not forget Zhao Xueqing and was in pain and anxiety. Who is that man? The moment he saw Jiang Tian holding hands with Zhao Xueqing, his pupils constricted and a ferocious glint flashed in his eyes. This kid is Zhao Xueqing's husband, Jiang Tian. He's a lunatic and good for nothing. He works as a public relations officer in Zhao's pharmaceutical company. He's a live-in son-in-law. Lu Baiyao immediately fanned the flames and told him about Jiang Tian's situation. It turned out that Lu Jinrong liked Zhao Xueqing. This was great, Jiang Tian would be trampled to death. What qualifications does a good-for-nothing have to compare with me? Lu Jinrong snorted disdainfully. How could a working-class loser, a live-in son-in-law, enter Lu Jinrong's eyes? That girl is quite beautiful. How could she fancy such a third-rate trash? Are you blind? Yang Mi also added fuel to the fire. She knew that Lu Jinrong liked Zhao Xueqing and had always been jealous. But why? She was a big star with both beauty and art. She was just an ordinary girl. Why was Lu Jinrong so obsessed and unable to extricate himself? Humph. Lu Jinrong snorted and could not bear it anymore. He rushed out. Lu Baiyao followed behind him with a gloating look in her eyes. He diverted the trouble and protected himself. Killing two birds with one stone. Jiang Tian, you're too arrogant. You've looked down on me time and time again. This time, I'll make you pay the price in blood. Jiang Tian, my uncle just called. He wants you to attend the banquet. Zhengli hung up the phone and said softly. Forget it. That place is too noisy. Let's chat here. Jiang Tian declined politely. It's good to watch the boxing match later. Zhao Xueqing smiled. At this time, night had fallen and the sky was full of stars. A wide-open arena had been set up on the deck. Many martial arts experts were gathered. Some were masters of Sanda, Muay Thai, and Karate. Among them, there were also some blonde foreigners. There were more than 100 people in the audience. They were either rich or respectable. They sat on the chairs below the stage. Their eyes were filled with excitement and anticipation. Since it was a gambling ship, there was no lack of betting tables. A few dealers in vests stood behind a few betting tables. The audience could place bets on the outcome of each round and participate in the gambling. Xueqing, if you bet according to my advice, you'll definitely make a lot of money. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Yes, hubby is right. Zhao Xueqing rubbed her palms together. She was eager to give it a try. I heard that last year's tournament on the high seas made more than 2 billion yuan in 3 days. Master Feng of Donghai made 200 million yuan just from the commission. Zhengli said with envy and admiration. Her uncle, Zheng Guangsha, was the richest man in Linzhou. However, he was not as good as Yi Gufeng. Humph. Yi Ziwei snorted and looked at the lively scene on the deck with a complicated expression. At this moment, surrounded by a group of rich and famous people, Lu Jinrong walked over with a glass of red wine in his hand. He looked at Zhao Xueqing with a smile on his face and said, Qing'er, I didn't expect you to be here to watch the boxing match. How about we talk at the banquet on the second floor of the cabin? Young Master Rong. Young Master Rong is here. As soon as Lu Jinrong arrived on the deck, he immediately attracted the attention of many rich and famous people. They all greeted him respectfully. Xueqing, come with me. Lu Jinrong didn't even look at them. He only stared at Zhao Xueqing, who was sitting at the round table. Chapter 68. Young Master Rong. Zhao Xueqing was startled and looked fearful. Back then, when Lu Jinrong had proposed marriage, she had also carefully investigated Lu Jinrong's background. This person was vicious, merciless, and extremely evil. He had even killed people, which made her very afraid. Zhao Xueqing held Jiang Tian's warm hand and felt a sense of security. She shook her head and smiled apologetically. "Thank you, young Master Lu, but I have to watch the boxing match with my husband. Come with me. It's too noisy here and the view is not good." Lu Jinrong squeezed out a smile and raised his hand to grab Zhao Xueqing's snow-white wrist. "Young Master Rong, please behave yourself." Zhao Xueqing shook off his hand and said in a panic. Seeing this, Lu Jinrong's face turned cold and his eyes were filled with anger. Xue Feiyang smiled and asked, "By the way, Ms. Zhao, since Mr. Jiang is your husband, he must have an extraordinary background. Why don't you introduce him?" "Oh, this is Jiang Tian. He's from the Jiang family of Jinling City." Yi Ziwei sensed their hostility and told them about Jiang Tian's background, hoping that they would be wary of him. Jiang Tian from the Jiang family of Jinling City. Lu Jinrong was startled and suddenly burst into laughter. "Oh, so it's the idiot who beat up young Master Chen of Beijing and was kicked out of his family." Lu Jinrong might have been a little scared if he didn't know about Jiang Tian's identity. However, he laughed out loud after knowing it. Jiang Tian had become the target of public criticism after beating up the young master of the Chen family of Beijing. He even lost the support of the Jiang family. Besides, the Jiang family was in a crisis and they couldn't help Jiang Tian even if they wanted to. Therefore, it didn't matter to him how he trampled on Jiang Tian. "I'll refund your ticket and you'll get out of the cruise." Xue Feiyang's face darkened and his lips curled into a disdainful smirk. "How can a penniless guy like you come to such a high-end place? If you don't get out, I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish." In fact, Xue Feiyang's father didn't even rank in the top 10 on Yi Gufeng's side. He couldn't be compared to a veteran like Lu Zikuan at all. At this moment, he was still trying to curry favor with Lu Jinrong. "What Jiang family of Jinling? I'm afraid this brat is in for some bad luck. He might drown to death." Everyone on the deck panicked and looked at each other. Just in the evening, he threw a guy named Fan Tao into the sea and almost drowned. Young Master Rong. Just as Zhao Xueqing, Zheng Li, and the rest panicked and were about to plead for mercy, he suddenly interrupted them. "Pa!" A crisp sound was heard. Xue Feiyang, who was proudly flaunting his prowess, was sent flying by Jiang Tian. Like a spinning top, he spun in the air and flew 5 meters away, knocking over several tables before falling to the ground. Everyone saw that half of Xue Feiyang's face was smashed and blood flowed out continuously. He was completely unconscious and was not moving at all. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief. The whole place was so silent that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. "Is this brat crazy? He even dares to hit young Master Xue. His father is also Yi Gufeng's favorite. How dare an ant like you make a fuss in front of me?" Jiang Tian picked up the napkin on the table and wiped his hands. His expression was calm and unperturbed. "How dare you hit him?" Yang Mi could not believe it. Although Xue Feiyang could not be compared to Lu Jinrong, he was at least Lu Jinrong's henchman. Isn't this a slap to Lu Jinrong's face? Lu Jinrong's face was gloomy and he could no longer maintain his smile. He said coldly, "Xueqing, your husband is so arrogant. Do you believe that I'll kill you if you say another word?" Jiang Tian did not even look at him and said coldly. The whole place was dead silent. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian as if they were looking at a fool. They could not believe it. The tycoons on the deck were basically second or third rate. Those who had met Jiang Tian in Lin Zhou had all gone to the banquet hall to attend the cocktail party. Apart from Zhao Xueqing and Zheng Li, no one knew of his abilities. In their opinion, an unknown live-in son-in-law of the Zhao family was undoubtedly courting death by shouting at young Master Rong like that. Well, Jiang Tian, you're so arrogant. Bodyguards, throw this kid down. Lu Jinrong was furious, he pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted. At this moment, Xue Feiyang had also woken up. He stood up with the help of the railing and pointed at Jiang Tian. Kid, how dare you hit me? I'll kill you. Instantly, a few fierce-looking bodyguards surrounded Jiang Tian. Oh right, don't forget to throw him a swimming ring and let him swim back to Lin Zhou. Lu Jinrong shrugged his shoulders mockingly. Young Master Rong, you have a sense of humor. Lu Biao flattered him and then looked at Jiang Tian mockingly. Jiang Tian, you're courting death. How dare you offend young Master Rong? You're dead meat. It's time to test your swimming skills. Don't drown halfway. Chairman Hu, who was in charge of catering, also smiled sinisterly. How dare you? Seeing that the bodyguards were getting closer, Yi Ziwei slammed the table and stood up. She pointed at Lu Jinrong and shouted. You're just a dog. If you dare to lay a finger on Jiang Tian, I'll never let you off. Bitch, who do you think you are? How dare you scold me? If you dare to be presumptuous again, I'll get someone to gang rape you too. Lu Jinrong was furious and no longer cared about his manners. He pointed at Yi Ziwei and roared domineeringly. When you see Jiang Tian later, you have to be respectful. Mr. Yi only invited him for a negotiation. You still have to respect him. Lu Zikuan went downstairs and said to his confidants and bodyguards. Also, Yi Ziwei is Master Feng's daughter. No one knows about it. You have to protect her for the next few days. Don't let anything happen to her. Yes. Brother Kuan. The bodyguards answered in unison. Suddenly, Lu Zikuan looked up and saw his son and Yi Ziwei arguing. He was scared out of his wits. Others might not know, but he knew that this was the daughter of the Yi family. How could his son talk to her like that? If word of this reached Master Feng's ears, wouldn't she and her son be killed by Master Feng? He strode over and said angrily, Jinrong, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Dad, this kid just hit Feiyang. Look, his face is bleeding. Lu Jinrong quickly went up to him and said angrily. Slap. Lu Zikuan did not say anything. He raised his hand and gave his son a big slap. He scolded, Get out of here, you disgrace. Dad, what are you doing? There are so many people here. Why did you hit me? Lu Jinrong felt that he had lost face and was also confused. Shut up. Lu Zikuan roared and gritted his teeth. If you disrespect Mr. Jiang and Ms. Yi again, I will kill you. Mr. Jiang, who is he? Lu Jinrong was shocked when he saw his father's eyes were spitting fire. His father had always doted on him and had never been so angry. Yeah. Who is Mr. Jiang? Everyone present was also puzzled. Lu Zikuan walked up to Jiang Tian and bowed respectfully. He said with a smile, Mr. Jiang, I am so sorry. My son is ignorant and has offended you. Please forgive him, please forgive him. Everyone was stunned. They could not believe what they had just heard. Lu Zikuan was nicknamed Dog Face Kuan. He was as ruthless as a rabid dog and was infamous for his ruthlessness. He was second only to Yi Gufeng in Jiangbei. However, he was showing so much respect to this unknown young man. What kind of person is Lu Zikuan? He actually bowed to Jiang Tian and even called him Mr. Jiang. What kind of background does this Jiang Tian have? Lu Biao screamed in her mind as her eyes widened in disbelief. Don't worry about it. But if this happens again, he will be a dead man. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. He already knew why Lu Zikuan was there. Mr. Jiang, Master Feng would like to invite Mr. Jiang to his cabin for a chat. Lu Zikuan's face froze. He then smiled and said, "Don't worry, I will teach this kid a lesson." Who is this kid? He is just an abandoned son of the Jiang family. How could he force his father to bow to him? Seeing his father bowing to Jiang Tian, the muscles on Lu Jinrong's face twitched, and he felt very uncomfortable in his heart. What? Lord Feng invited him. Who the hell is he? Everyone was shocked by the turn of events. Yi Gufeng was the most powerful man in Jiangbei. He was able to suppress Tang Wanyan and Dragon V. Even billionaires and mayors could not make him treat them with caution. However, he had just invited an ordinary young man to talk to him. I must have made a mistake. This is too strange. First, Long Gaetian knelt to Jiang Tian. Then, Yi Gufeng invited Jiang Tian to talk. What is going on? How could Jiang Tian know such a powerful man like Yi Gufeng? Lu Biao's face changed drastically. She frowned and thought hard. She could not figure it out. She could no longer calm down. Jiang Tian, Yi Ziwei's face was filled with worry. However, Zhao Xueqing was beside her. There were some things that she could not say out loud. Don't worry, Ms. Yi. It's just that Mr. Yi has not seen Jiang Tian for many years and misses him. Lu Zikuan comforted her with a smile. When the crowd saw that he was trying to please Yi Ziwei, they were dumbfounded and petrified on the spot. Big sister Weiwei, you accompany Xueqing first. I'll be right back. Jiang Tian smiled faintly and turned to leave. Looking at Jiang Tian and Lu Zikuan's backs, Lu Biao was horrified and regretted it. Could this be his trump card? Master Feng of Jiangbei? No wonder he dared to slap Xue Feiyang and did not even care about Lu Jinrong. He could even talk to Yi Gufeng. Lu Zikuan was so afraid of his female companion. If he wanted to take revenge on me, I would be crushed to death. Mr. Jiang, this is it. Don't be nervous. Don't be agitated. Let's talk. Yi Gufeng is my brother. If you dare to be disrespectful to him, hee. When they arrived at the door of a hall on the top floor of the cabin, Lu Zikuan made a gesture of invitation and smiled maliciously. As Yi Gufeng's loyal follower, Lu Zikuan was very popular. Even the mayor of Donghai had to greet him with a smile. Whether it was scolding his son or being so respectful to Jiang Tian, it was all to give face to Yi Ziwei. As for Jiang Tian himself, he was just an abandoned son of a declining family. How could he take him seriously? Jiang Tian couldn't be bothered with him and walked into the luxurious hall. Yi Gufeng stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with his hands behind his back. His tall figure was like a lonely peak in the abyss, extraordinary and extraordinary. He was overlooking the rolling waves of the Pacific Ocean. At this moment, he finally showed the domineering aura of a formidable person. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.